morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Half tempted to just see how many times you do it. 7 is my guess. Over under 6.5.
No, I would go 4, and then I would open the mic and ask you why you're not talking.
So see how many times you'd play it. 7 is my guess. Over under 6.5.
Nah, 7's too many.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Great to be with you. Hope that you are well. Hope you had an exceptional start to your week this week. It is Tuesday. Time to rock and roll on the show today. We will be as good at radioing as Sergei Bobrovsky is at goaltending, which is to say, very, very, very good. Another excellent night out of the brick wall with a name that is Sergei Bobrovsky. Only 19 shots by the Edmonton Oilers last night, which is shocking. I took the over and the Oilers to win last night. Neither one of them hit. Just a bad read by me. I really thought last night's a night. Connor McDavid has got to go BANANAS on it. And he didn't. The Oilers didn't. They did score a shorthanded goal on a 5-minute major, which was shocking. I thought, all right, if they're out here dropping shorties on 5-minute majors, we're absolutely cashing. Nope. The Oilers managed 19 total shots on goal last night. It was pathetic. Like, what are we doing? Florida is, hands down, no question, the best defensive team in the game. It's not a question mark. That is a statement of fact. They are on a next level flow when it comes to playing defense. They're just a cut above everybody else. And they put that back on full display last night. So we'll talk some Stanley Cup coming up later in the show. What can be done by the Dallas Mavericks to get back into the series, to make this a series? Yes, I know the answer is win 2 games at home. That's the answer, sure. But how do they do that? Can they do that? Lonzo and I, we will put on our doctor's coats later and try to come up with a prescription plan for the Dallas Mavericks to try to climb back into this series against the Beantown Celtics. Coming up later in the show. We are going to start something that I think we're only going to have enough to make it a weekly thing. Probably not a daily, though we'll see. But I've decided that at least as long as they are happening, which means probably another week or so, and then we'll have a little break until the fall camps start up. But at least once a week, though, I'm going to pull 2 or 3 sound clips from Xavier Legette press conferences and play them. And you and I are going to serve as the official translator of Xavier Legette, because the people can't get enough of this guy. And I mean, obviously, neither can we.
I was going to say, I thought we were the people, but, you know.
We represent the people. And the people can't get enough XL. The people can't get enough XL, but every night, every time another XL clip drops, I am seeing a bunch of people go, can someone tell me what he just said? Can someone explain to me the answer to the question that he was asked? And the answer is, yeah, I can. I speak fluent Xavier Legette. So I got 2 clips from yesterday from XL, not super long answers, but long enough that people on Twitter and on X and Facebook were like, what's this cat talking about?
You have an unfair advantage, though, because he's very Cajun sounding, even though he's not. And so from years of probably interpreting what your family is saying, it's helped you attune to that dialect.
I want to say you're wrong, but you're really not. Like I want to say that's a little offensive. I want to say that's a little rude. That's a little condescending to La Familia. It's not.
There's
not wrong.
There's a reason why I have no problem working. Well, I have some problems, but mostly no problems working in a room with someone who's really loud, because my family are the loudest family on earth. I know you think it's yours.
No, it's definitely mine.
So I'd love to have dueling family reunions at some park to see what the DB level is.
Ours are very frequently held somewhere on the water. Because sound projects and you can go away from houses. That's it. So we'll talk a little XL later in the show. Yesterday, I was talking about the Diana Taurasi, Caitlin Clark, controversy that played out. Caitlin Clark left off of the Olympics roster. Diana Taurasi, at 41 years of age, placed on it. And yesterday I said I have a problem with it. By the way, you know what I did last night, great one? I made a TikTok. Yesterday about this.
You know, if you're pointing out that you made a TikTok, that makes you sound old. You know what I did last night? Made me one of them TikTokers.
The lady friend, did
she say, tell me you're not TikToking?
No. So she is in marketing and public relations. That's her job, right? And so as a member of a marketing and public relations team, she has to be on top of all the recent trends in social media. And so she actually is an A+ top-notch TikToker. And so I said last night, I said, hey, babe, are you good? We had dinner together. I said, are you good? I got to step into the back and make a TikTok. And she went, oh, you're going to need help. And I felt personally attacked. Correctly.
No, I mean, the fact that she's willing to help you and make what you were going to do even better. I mean, it's like a pro saying, hey, you need my help?
Yeah, but come on, dude. You
talked her up about how good she is.
She's the best. But you and I both know that as dudes, as bros, there's nothing that bugs us more than, hey, you can't do that thing. You're going to need help, Grandpa.
Unless you really didn't want to do that thing in the first place.
I had to do it. All right. Like it is part of the building of the brand. It just is. It is part of the building of the brand. You got to do it in this line. I've got to be able to pop some hot takes out there in the social media world. I've got to be able to pop out there, here's my take on this or my thought on that or whatever, and do so in a way that I can, as Cartman once said, reach these kids. I've got to be able to reach the youth of America.
All right, I just looked it up because I was curious about what the demographics are for TikTok. As of April 2024, 17.3% of TikTok's global audience were women between the ages of 18 and 24.
17% are women between
right,
the
18.9% of the performance audience is male of the same age, 18 to 24.
All right, so hang on.
So
okay, that includes the age. I'm like 17% is women, 18% is men. And there's a lot of percentages left.
So that means, I guess, approximately 50% is, or a little more than that, are older than 24. Okay, because I was curious about the demographic breakdown as to whether you're really reaching our audience or not.
Honestly, the answer is yes.
But this is global. I don't care about global. I want to know about America.
America. I'm gonna go with.
I know I'm going numbers nerd right here on you.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Let's be real. If I was floating my takes off into the ether, into an audience of people who do not butt up against our demographics, I would be wasting my time, energy, and effort. And
you said but.
You said but.
Yeah, exactly.
I need TP for my bunghole.
Stop it.
I need TP for my bunghole. It's a pretty good. It's a B minus.
57% of TikTok users are female. The U.S. has the largest TikTok audience of over 135 million. Okay.
I firmly agree.
Almost 90% of Saudi Arabian adults use TikTok.
Oh, for sure. Listen, I solidly agree that the overwhelming amount, I'm not going to say overwhelming, a majority of users on TikTok are female, are female. I'm turning into Xavier Legette.
So the thing is, this is getting pushed by people that we should do more of this. And once again, I don't think the numbers line up with them trying to push us to do it, except for the fact that you're wanting to reach a younger audience, and I applaud you for that. I hope it worked.
I think that when you look at a number of folks who have over recent years gotten big on TikTok.
Okay, it isn't like you were posting on Threads or something. I mean, because then I'd be like, come on, dude.
Yeah, you're shouting into the ether there.
Okay, come on.
No, it's I think there is, especially when it comes to basketball. There's actually a pretty big basketball talk world out there. But obviously the premise is you make it there, you utilize the tools within that system to build a video, and then you cross it over to Instagram, YouTube, whatever.
I did all that to prove that she is an expert, because the majority of the audience for TikTok are female. So she would know how to help you.
Oh, for sure.
And I wanted to make it to where you would understand that it wasn't a knock on you.
No.
She was just trying to help you.
I didn't take it that way. Let me be abundantly clear in what I'm saying. I just don't like being told you're too old to figure something out, Gramps, right? Like, I know that whatever I did, she would make better. All right. I didn't get help last night. I posted it, if you saw it, because I threw it up on my Instagram as well, at the Rob Brown Show on both platforms. I threw them up there.
I don't have either, because literally I am a grandpa.
Exactly. But you don't like being told you can't do a thing. And it doesn't matter the reason.
Hence my radio career.
Yeah. Correct.
You can't do that.
It doesn't matter the reason that you are told you can't do a thing. It's just frustrating to be told you can't do a thing. So I popped one on last night to circle all the way back around to where this should have gone the whole time. I popped one out about Taurasi and Caitlin Clark. And I said, Caitlin Clark should be on this Olympic roster. And I think it's a foolish decision that she is not. And that a player that, and this is 100% true, that I have loved since I was in high school, in Diana Taurasi. I'm a big fan. I have loved Diana Taurasi since I was in high school. She was playing her ball at UConn when I was at Choctaw-Hatchie High School in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. And I followed her career ever since. I am a fan. But I would also look at the demographics. Now I'm hooked. I would now look at the metrics here. And as I went and did the deep dive yesterday, Caitlin Clark has more points per game than Diana Taurasi, more assists per game than Diana Taurasi, more steals per game than Diana Taurasi, more rebounds per game than Diana Taurasi. The only thing Diana Taurasi has on Caitlin Clark is she is like 0.3 of a percentage point better when it comes to 3-point shooting accuracy. But Caitlin Clark has taken multiple more threes per game and is doing so on a team that is, and I tried to come up with the best possible word I could to describe the Indiana Fever, and here's the word that I came up with, bad. They're bad. They're a bad basketball team. And so because of that, I have laid on the argument that as far as I am concerned, Caitlin Clark should be headed to the Olympics. So I put all of that up yesterday. But what I came across when I described the only reason that you would send Diana Taurasi, which of course is the fact that Diana Taurasi is a spectacular vet. She's a killer with an A on the end. She a killer. And you kind of want that on that team because that's the kind of thing that specifically young players will line up against. But here's the thing. There's very few young players on this roster. I think there's only like 2 players that are below the age of 26. This isn't a team that you should need to worry about, because somebody else said on TikTok, well, they probably just wanted to ignore the distractions from people like you. I said, what do you mean, you people? So probably just wanted to listen. You have built a team that is leaning on age, that is leaning
but if you
on
put
experience.
Caitlin Clark on that team, then you're going to have to put other rookies on that team.
No, you don't.
So the best thing to do, and the smartest thing, and the thing that they needed to do was what they did and not put any rookies on the team.
Why do you have to put other rookies on the team?
You do because
Why?
Of the controversy it will create if you put her on the team.
No.
It absolutely will be controversial, and they're trying to avoid that apparently.
Just like the take that Atlanta shouldn't have drafted Michael Penix because it created a controversy. I don't care. If it's controversial to you, then deal with it. But it's not a controversy at all.
Absolutely would be controversial if they put her on the team.
No, it would not.
More so than them not put it. We see all the media attention this is getting, them not putting her on the team. It would have got like 10 times the amount if they did put her on the team. The
controversy would have been that there would have been a couple of rookies, one in particular, and we all know who we're talking about, that would have come out and been like, what about me?
This music sounds angelic. I don't know if you knew that.
It's good. That's a good reference. I like that. There would have been a bunch of rooks. There'd have been one rook who would have come out and said, yo, what about me? What about me? People are watching me just as much as they're watching her. And while I love that player and respect that player, no, they're not. No, they're not, dude. They're not. There would have been no controversy here other than one that would have been drummed up by one other player, and that 90% of people would have went, no, you're not on that level, man. That's why she was drafted first overall and you were drafted 9th. You're not on that level, my guy. So I don't think it would have been a controversy. And if anybody would have thought it was a controversy, my response would have been, all right, well, go talk about it on sports radio or whatever you got to do. But we're taking one of the best players. Anyway, to circle all that around, the reason I brought it up was because I told you about a Kobe Bryant clip that had Bosch and LeBron and Dwayne Wade and some other guys in it. I found that clip yesterday. And I'm going to play it for you because it is spectacular. That was a lot of setup to tell you I have a sound for you in a little while. The Rob Brown Show rolls on. It's the Fan Upstate. Now we get to go clean up.
We both know you were just trying to wait till the end of the bed. I know what you're doing.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Granger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
When something happens to your car, you might say, but what you really need to say is something that can actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Just like that, State Farm is there to help you file your claim right on the State Farm mobile app. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, leads the wheel.
Sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know there's a better way to do things, like bundling your home and auto insurance with Allstate. Why make things harder than they need to be? There's a better way to save time and money. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
Can't wait to hear what's next on Wire to Wire with Cole and Beasley. Tell me what's coming up.
Board meets Tuesday. Will Gamecock fans riot as Paul Mainieri is the next head coach?
Yep, they're going to riot. It's going to happen. Storm Williams-Brice. How dare you? Or whatever what's the baseball stadium? I don't know.
Heritage. Dan Hurley offered 6 years and $70 million to go become the coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. And he rejected it. He turned it down. He said, thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to stay right here in Connecticut to stay with the Huskies.
He said, you mean to tell me you want me to come to L.A. and LeBron's not going to be here? No thanks.
I am up in the air.
Wait. That counts as a half because I
accept a half. I need a lead. I got beat last week.
All right.
First time in a while.
So wait. You're saying I have to draft Bronny? Nah, I'm going back to you, guy.
So I could see that playing into the decision. One of the things that Laker fans were really excited about was that last week the Pelicans still have one more first round draft pick left over from the Anthony Davis trade from the LA Lakers. They had an option on that draft pick. They could take it this year or they could defer it to next year. Obviously, the Lakers found a way to fight their way back into the playoffs this year. The New Orleans Pelicans decided that they were going to defer that draft pick. They are going to bank that the Lake Show are not going to be as good next year as they were this year, and they will get a higher draft pick out of Los Angeles, which gives the Lakers back their 17th overall pick, which puts them, if nobody else believes that Bronny is worth a draft pick to get LeBron out of LA. If they firmly believe that no matter where Bronny plays, Bron is going to stick with the Lakers and try to flesh out his legacy in LA, then nobody's going to take Bronny before the Lakers come up at 17, which would allow them to draft LeBron James Jr. And I have to assume that at least to some degree, there was a belief that, especially if you're Dan Hurley, that's not the right play, that you want to avoid that play. I don't want to waste the 17th draft pick. And by the way, don't tell me the 17th draft pick isn't potentially valuable, because that is a higher pick than the Mavs spent on Derek Lively. And while Derek Lively has, let's call it what it is, sucked in the NBA Finals for the Dallas Mavericks, he did not suck in getting them there. They are partially in the finals because of what Derek Lively has done. Those picks are valuable in the NBA, even if they don't necessarily feel like it. So, Dan Hurley says 6 years, 70 mil. I'm good. It would have made him one of the top 6 highest paid coaches in the NBA. He was already in negotiations with UConn to become one of, if the not highest paid head coach in collegiate basketball. And he decides, I'm going to stick with that conversation instead of going to the show. I'll tell you what I think the play was here. I think LA was expecting one of two things. Either Dan Hurley was going to show up in LA and he was going to figure it out, and his tactical genius was going to elevate a Los Angeles Lakers offense that disappeared for long stretches last year, that he was going to find ways to work around those games that LeBron and or Anthony Davis were banged up and couldn't go. But I also think Dan Hurley on a 6-year contract and not a 10-plus year contract, I think Dan Hurley likely would have been set up to either succeed or to be a scapegoat in Los Angeles. If he shows up and the Lake shows bad again next year, then they could do what? Oh, well, we got this guy that came up from the college ranks and he doesn't really know the game. It's going to take some. Basically, they would have a get out of jail free card for being bad one more time that they might not have if they go out there and they find themselves an experienced head coach, maybe a successful head coach. I think he would have been a scapegoat, specifically if either A, LeBron left preseason, or B, if LeBron left after next season, either to go play with Bronny somewhere or to retire outright, because it's about that time, right? My man's going to be, 41 when next season ends? It would have been an easy pin on Dan Hurley.
Obvious decline in his game.
There is.
There's some, but he's still better than a lot of other
He's
guys.
still one of the top 10 players in the league, no doubt. But it's not just about whether or not he can still do it. It's also a matter of, does he want to? Because LeBron has brought up the R word a couple of times. He's discussed it. It's not like it's not flittering around in the brain of Braun. So I think Dan Hurley probably looked at that and said, all right, UConn is about to break the bank. They're about to back the Brinks truck up to my garage. They're about to make me, if not one of the highest 2 or 3 paid head coaches in all of college basketball. Or I could go be the 6th highest paid head coach in basketball, but do it in arguably the most high pressure job in the NBA. But I also think there's one more thing out there. I think the circle of available head coaching jobs in the NBA next year is going to be very large. Now, I heard yesterday in what was just absolute peak New York radio, I heard yesterday a guy out of New York saying, no, I'll tell you why Dan Hurley passed this up. It's because he's going to wait until the New York Knicks jobs open next year. He's coming to be a Knick. And I'm like, dude, not everybody's going to be a Knick. Not everybody wants to be a Knick. Now, geographically, the Knicks make sense for Dan Hurley because Dan Hurley's made it clear that he likes New England. He likes the Northeast. He'd like to stay in that region. His wife's from up there. He's obviously got inroads up there. He'd like to stay there. But that doesn't just by default make him a New York Knick, right? It just doesn't. So that was pretty peak New York radio. Oh, he spurned LA because he knows the Knicks are going to be open down the line. Easy killer. Maybe pull back. But I do think there will be a number of jobs that are available next year. I actually don't think the Knicks are going to be one of them. I think Tom Thibodeau, now that the Knicks have had some time to take a look at really what this season shaped out to be and what that playoff run turned into with multiple injured superstars through the run. I think Knicks fans probably have to look at that and go, yeah, it's not really on Tibbs. There are some Knicks fans who feel like it is on Tibbs, and they feel like it's on Tibbs because they feel like Tibbs ran this team into the ground, and he's part of the reason that they had a mash unit of a starting lineup. And maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I think there is probably some element of truth to it. But they were also very good this year. They were also arguably the second best team in the East behind Beantown and didn't get there just because of the injuries. You'd like to think Tom Thibodeau will know how to build some depth for this roster, a roster which is largely back next year. So I don't think that job's open. But I do think there will be plenty of other jobs open around the NBA. And I would be willing to bet that now that they know the baseline of $70 million is it for Dan Hurley, somebody is going to be willing to make him a bigger push next year. And if he leaves UConn, because obviously the next milestone is the three-peat for the Huskies. If he gets the three-peat, he would be in charge of only the second college basketball program ever to win a D1 Natty 3 years in a row. The last and only other time it has ever happened was the UCLA days when John Wooden was still in charge. That was a very long time ago. So if he pulls that off, he will have done something that Mike Krzyzewski didn't do, that Dino didn't do, that Roy Boy didn't do. He would do something that even the greats of the last 60 years haven't been able to do if he can go win a three-peat with UConn next year. And by the way, UConn's class is really good looking, like real good looking. Like they could have in 2025 potentially 3 or 4 first-round draft picks coming off that Husky basketball team. So I think it makes sense for Dan Hurley to stay. I also think there's something else that I am enjoying watching the reaction to, which is Laker fans recognizing that not everybody sees y'all that way. Not everybody looks at the L and the A in purple and gold and decides that they need to drop to their knees and venerate you, worship you. Nothing dirty. Relax, Alonzo.
I know what venerate means. It's just the fact that you used it. It's just, I mean,
it's a good word. Good word.
It might be the first time ever used on sports radio. Way to go, you.
Maybe. I'm just out here being a trendsetter. I am indeed an influencer now. Nobody outside of LA falls to the ground to worship LA the way that LA does. Like, is it the most prestigious job in the NBA? Honestly, probably is. Does that mean that it is automatically better than UConn for Dan Hurley? No, it doesn't. It does not. So it's been very enjoyable to watch the city of Los Angeles deal with the fact that somebody told them no. It's pretty spectacular. But Dan Hurley, I think, made a good decision here. I don't think that, if he goes to LA and he wins a title, and like that's all well and good. But the likelihood of that happening is not super high. And if the likelihood of that happening is not super high, you're more likely to be turned into the scapegoat for any and everything going wrong when LeBron leaves.
What was the name of the last Laker coach to win a championship?
Was it Phil? No, it's 2020. Who was the head coach in 2020?
Exactly.
God, how am I blanking on that? It was it Vogel? Was Vogel still in charge then?
Sounds right.
Yeah, it was Vogel. Bang. I know I still got it in me. Still got that dog in me. All right, back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Yeah, Vogel was there for 2 years. I think Hamlin was it was Vogel for 2 years and then Ham for 2 years.
That is what is up.
That's what's up.
Virginia to kick things off on Friday afternoon. Then Tennessee battles Florida State. The 8 winners of Super Regionals are split into 2 double elimination.
All right, dudes, give me 20 seconds. Be right back. All right, dudes, we're back.
I'm going to say that's completely gone. It looks fine both sides. In construction along I-26, in between mile marker 7 and mile marker 8. From the new Soft 98.9 WRD Traffic Center, I'm Lori Houston on the Fan, Upstate.
As the nation's leader in using orthobiologics to deal with joint pain, QC Kinetics has treated tens of thousands of patients.
For many of them, that treatment comes with a plan to lose weight, as we know that keeping a healthy weight puts less strain on your joints.
So now to help patients lose weight in the fastest and most effective way, QC Kinetics is excited to offer newly approved injectables for those who qualify.
If your weight is keeping you from living your best life, call QC Kinetics now and learn more about these next-generation weight loss options, including semaglutide and tirzepatide.
Even if you're just looking to look better and feel better by getting back to your ideal weight, call the medical professionals at QC Kinetics to see if you qualify for these revolutionary and effective treatments.
QC is making these amazing options accessible and affordable.
I sent you like 3 things on Twitter
Call 833-QCK-SLIM to get
or
your
X.
Lose
Okay.
weight now and finally give your aching joints a break. Call 833-QCK-SLIM. That's 833-QCK-SLIM.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Now, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
Attention talcum powder users. Have you had ovarian or gynecological cancer? A proposed $8 billion plan will pay those who believe they got sick from using talc products, like Johnson's baby powder and shower to shower. Johnson & Johnson maintains its products are safe. You have until July.
You all right there, killer?
No, I don't know what that is, but it hurts. I think my leg gonna fall off.
Everyone criticized in here from brakes to exhaust kits and beyond.
Hello, everybody.
122 million parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to bring home that
Performance.
ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Robert Half research indicates 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals use proprietary AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com today.
From the Ingles Market Studio, the Fan.
Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville. 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Always live from the Philadelphia. Now, the Infinity Sports Network.
So, I got to do something very cool on Saturday. I get to do something that I have never done before on Saturday in the world of sports. I have never been, great when this may or may not surprise you. You also may or may not care. I have never been to a PGA Tour event. Is that at all shocking?
A little bit, yeah. You being a golf fan, and how many courses were other than the one you lived on in the area where you grew up?
The closest PGA Tour event to where I grew up would have either been the Zurich Classic outside of New Orleans or the Players Championship in Jacksonville, Florida. And when I lived in Jacksonville, I lived there for a 6-month stretch that did not include the TPC, did not include the Players Championship. So
doesn't a BMW count as a PGA Tour?
It is not. It is a Pro-Am. It is a Corn Ferry Tour, which is
Corn Ferry. Okay.
It's the minor league of the PGA Tour. Now, if you get to go to a Corn Ferry Tour tournament like I did this past weekend, I highly encourage it because a lot of those guys are going to be the future stars of tomorrow on the PGA
Tour. Who came up
Tour.
with the name Corn Ferry? I'm just curious.
I mean, it's a sponsor name. I don't know what.
Oh,
Corn Ferry
okay.
is.
All right. So it's actually a product. It's not mythological creature from Indiana.
No, Corn Ferry is a. I honestly don't know that it's named after. I know there is a consulting company called Corn Ferry, and I've just always worked under the assumption that it's sponsored by them.
I'm gonna take a risk and say, what is a Corn Ferry?
You could get some very weird Google results.
All right, is Corn Ferry as in AI or ER?
KORN FERRY.
Oh, never mind. They're sponsored by the band Corn. Never mind.
That's it.
So, I mean,
that's it. No, it's not because the K is facing the right way for this one.
Well, I mean,
it is also in the past
won't do that,
been known as the Ben Hogan Tour, the Nike Tour, the Buy.com Tour, the Nationwide Tour, and the Web.com Tour. It became the Corn Ferry Tour in 2020.
By the
so
way,
it's only been that way
I remember the majority of those other ones that you pointed out, but Corn Ferry, it's okay.
Okay, so this Saturday, I am, and here's how excited I am about it.
It's a management consulting company.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
This is how excited I am about this. I'm actually taking off from Bet for the Cycle for this.
Ooh.
Joey B, friend of the show, hit me up a couple of days ago and goes, "Hey, bro, I've got an extra ticket to the U.S. Open on Saturday. Do you want to go?" So I called the boss from BetQL yesterday, and I was like, "Hey, listen, I'll make it up to you. I'll fill in anywhere else, anytime else. I'll pick up any show you need. I'll cover any shift that you want. But can I get off for Bet for the Cycle on Saturday? I got a spot at the U.S. Open in Charlotte." And he's like, "Yep, nope." Obviously, he's a big golf guy. He's like, "Yeah, no, definitely do that." So there's two exciting things. Well, there's three. One is I just get to go. I've never been to a PGA Tour event before. I've been to senior tour events. I've been to Corn Ferry Tour events. I have never been to a top tier event. I've never been to a PGA Tour event.
Okay, I just going to sound mean, but it's me, so it's not a surprise. Can Rob Brown be quiet during a golf tournament?
Because
I'm really it's difficult for me to fathom, to imagine that you can, because you're excitable, and if you see a good shot.
Here's what I'll tell you. Rob Brown is, when he elects to be, an expert on etiquette. Okay? I am.
Did you learn that cotillion thing?
Yes, absolutely did. I absolutely did. So Rob Brown, expert on etiquette, and obviously big golf guy. All right? You go out with the boys in golf. I am absolutely the dude that will hush somebody for talking at a backswing. No problem. All right? It's golf. We have a higher level of expectation and responsibility around it.
I've heard you whisper, and it's not really a whisper. So I'm worried.
I respect the sanctity of the golf course. Great one. It is one place to which even I, the iconoclast that I am, it is one place that even I say there are rules and traditions which you will respect when you're out here on the short grass.
By the way, I want you to know you've already reached the 2 big word minimum that we have on the show. It's not even 7.
Everything past here is just icing.
Yeah, you can't. It's like 2 syllables or less.
Now, let me tell you what I am pulling for. We all know Scotty Scheffler is going to be in that thing. I get to see Prison Scotty play a little golf. All right. And I'm pretty excited about watching Prison Scotty play golf. I have not ruled out taking, this is a deep dive joke for those of you that are fans of The Office, but I have not ruled out taking out the purple bandana and going full Prison Mike on it.
I've actually seen that scene, and it's not funny at all.
It's hysterical.
No, it's not. That's
you know
why
what the
I
worst
don't-
thing about Prison is? The Dementors.
Yeah. It's just man.
It's not my fault you have no sense of humor.
No, yeah, you're right. I don't.
I know.
I don't know funny at all.
I know.
I will not say a funny thing the rest of the show or the rest of my life. It's just, I mean, it's amazing how
I'm shocked you made it this far.
How broad humor can be, and the fact that we can be on opposite sides and still laugh at other stuff together.
I have not ruled out taking
I have
purple bandana.
I have a purple bandana at home with you.
I have every color of the rainbow bandana.
Yeah.
Because I used to wear them for the band. That used to be my thing. I used to be a bandana guy. I was going to be aviators guy, but then my bassist showed up one day and he's like, no dibs on aviators guy. So I had to find another thing, and it was bandanas.
Yeah, but you can't wear bandanas with short hair.
I had long hair when I had the bandanas.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
It's a good look. It's a good look. Anyway, I have not ruled out going purple bandana, but let me tell you what I find myself, as a fan, find myself hoping. I really hope Tiger makes the cut on Friday. I really hope Tiger makes
So
the
you've
cut.
never seen him play in
I've
person?
never seen Tiger
Okay,
Woods play
all
in
right,
person.
All right, I get it.
I've never been to a PGA Tour event, so I've never seen Tiger Woods
Well,
play
you
in
could
person.
have seen him when he was coming up before he
person.
made it big. So
Not in person. Never seen Tiger in person. And that's not saying I expect Tiger to go win the tournament or anything. I mean, it'd be super dope to be at a round where Tiger walks off his final major, right? Like that would be an incredible, incredible experience. But I've never seen Tiger play in person. In fairness, I've never seen anybody on the tour play in person. I may have seen one or two of the guys that we don't know that played on the Korn Ferry Tour, because I've been to probably, including the Pro-Ams here in Greenville, I've probably been to 15, maybe 20 Korn Ferry Tour events, because they used to run them through Florida as well. I've been to a couple of senior tour events. Obviously, nobody from the senior tour that I saw is going to be playing this weekend. But I've never seen Eldrick play in person. And the only way that I am going to get to see Eldrick play in person is if Eldrick makes the cut on Friday. If he makes the cut after 36, then on Saturday, and here's my question. Because again, Texter said Rob Brown equals Miss Manners. Yeah, kind of. When it comes to golf, for sure. I am, as mentioned earlier, an iconoclast when it comes to the majority of situations that I'm in. It's the same one. It doesn't count. It's the same one.
Okay, all right.
I've already used it. I am an iconoclast. An iconoclast is someone that has little to no respect for the traditions and practices of sacred institutions. All right?
That does kind of describe you.
Correct.
Perfectly.
Again,
like everywhere and everything. It's weird.
As I've said in the past, peer pressure, tradition is peer pressure from dead people. Okay? I don't care. They're dead. They can't do anything to me. So, as somebody who is very much a believer in the sanctity of the golf course, I believe it is a place where there are expectations for behavior. Now, mine still aren't as high as ever. Dude, if you show up to the golf course and you play music out of a speaker in your golf cart, I'm good with that. I do that. Keep it to where nobody else can hear it outside of 20 feet away from your golf cart. But if you're in the golf cart and you're playing a little Proud Mary while you're bumping up to the 18th, I'm good with that.
Or the Al Cervic song of choice from Journey.
whichever one you want. All right. Little wheel in the sky. I'm all in for it. As a golf guy, knowing that there is some level of etiquette and behavior expected out of fans on the golf course. Number one, would it be bad form on Saturday if Tiger Woods makes the cut? If Tiger Woods makes the cut, would it be bad form when the gates open Saturday morning? Because I will be there when the gates open. Would it be bad form, great one, to sprint to get a spot wherever Tiger's teeing off from, 1 or 10? Would it be bad form to sprint to go get a shot just to watch Tiger play one hole, either from the tee or from the green?
Well, you have lost weight, which means there might be some sprint in you now. So
there's a little dog in me.
Yeah, so I say go for it. But is it a full sprint at a golfing event? You've never been to this type golfing event.
I think it would end up being
a
more
long,
of
long
a
striding fast walk.
It'd be more of an old man speed walk, like that. Like that?
Yeah, you gotta get your hips going.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, there's rules to speed walking, like legitimate rules to speed walking. You have to, at no point can you have both feet off the ground. You must always have one foot in contact with the ground. There's like actual rules to the form of speed walking. So I think that's what I go with. But what kind of fan am I that John Rahm's going to be there, Rory McIlroy's going to be there, Prison Scotty's going to be there, all these guys are going to be there, and I'm like, if Tiger makes the cut on Friday, straight to wherever he tees off from. I will find the tee time. I will find the assignment. I will find the hole he's going off on, either 1 or 10. I will speed walk like I am trying out for the gold medal round.
Is Joe willing to do a little, I slipped and take out a few people so you can get up there?
First off, this is going to be one of those times that I'm going to be very glad I'm 6'3", right? Because if I end up 4 to 5 rows back, I'm still going to be in good shape. But I've never seen a PGA Tour event. I have never seen Tiger Woods play in person. And I feel like I go out of my, I'm not saying if Tiger's playing on Saturday, if Tiger makes the cut, we both know the crowd around Tiger Woods is going to be stupid, right? It's going to be nuts. It's going to be 20 deep no matter where he is on the golf course. And so I'm not under any misinterpretation that I'm going to get to see Tiger Woods play more than a hole. And it's going to be, where do I set up?
He meant one hole, not how he said it. Are you following Tiger from hole to hole if he makes a cut?
I got to think it depends on where he is, right? If Tiger makes the cut and he enters Saturday atop the leaderboard, then I'm probably going to put a little bit more time into following Eldrick than before. But if he makes the cut and he's the first, the last guy in, he's not making it to the final. We're not seeing red shirt Tiger the way we want to. So at that point, I think I go see Tiger open. And then basically, and I talked to Joe B about this, the strategy is, according to Joey B, and he's done a lot of these, so the strategy is you find somebody playing, because the early guys are the guys you don't know. They're the guys at the bottom of the leaderboard, routinely guys you don't know. Maybe there's a big name that had a real bad Friday or a real bad Thursday and he just squeaked in. But you find somebody that is playing at early tee time, and he said you go in early, you line up with that cat, you follow that cat for 18 or 9, right? You follow him for a while, and then you finish the walk from 1 to 18. And then once you get to 18, then you walk the course in circles backwards. You go 18, 17, 16, 15. And that way you're crossing golfers as they come by. So you're going to see most of the groups as you walk. You're going to see every group as you walk backwards.
Should you be saying this on the air? Because now other people are going to understand the method and maybe they also try to do it.
I don't think I'm breaking the wheel out here, right? I don't think I'm giving anybody any strategy they haven't heard before. Well, if you were,
it's too late now.
It is what it is. I would also argue that I would like to think, and again, I've never been, so maybe I don't know, maybe I'm going to be shocked, but I'd like to think there's going to be a little bit more order and civility about this than the chaos surrounding a football or a soccer or a basketball game, right? Like, I think there's going to be a little bit more to it. So
it's not a Happy Gilmore kind of crowd.
Right.
Okay, all right. Or whatever that one tournament is where everyone gets.
That would be the Waste
drunk and
Management in
passed
Phoenix,
out. Yeah,
Arizona,
yeah.
a bucket list sporting item for me. So, golf guys out there, golf gals out there, those of you that have done the events, I am going to the U.S. Open on Saturday. It is my first PGA Tour event. It is obviously a big one. What's the play for me? What's the play? What's the right? Do I go straight to find it? Do I go, no matter what time he tees off on Saturday, if he makes the cut, do I go straight to where Tiger tees off from? Do I find another spot a little further down the line and wait for Tiger to come to me? Because if Tiger Woods is playing, I'm going to see Tiger Woods. It's not like I'm going to go watch Eldrick play. Do I watch one hole and then go find some actual contenders? Do I go find Rory? Do I go find John Rahm? Do I go, like, what's the play if I have one day at the event? By the way, Tiger Woods, to the texter that asked, minus 285 to miss the cut. So Vegas says he is not going to be playing on Saturday. I might go throw $100,000 at Tiger to make the cut just to see if I can, like, good karma him into Saturday, you know? Be real bummed if I miss Tiger by one day and never get to see him play a pro round in person.
Wow, talent money a little more than what I thought.
I mean, I'm just rolling with it over here. Can you tell? Hey, speaking of guys who deserve money for talent, here's Lonzo doing a sports flash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear that, management? The Florida Panthers lead. Never mind. I obviously don't need any money. The Florida Panthers lead the Stanley Cup after finishing off the second game at home with a 4-1 win over the Edmonton Oilers. Sergei Bobrovsky had another stellar game, saving 18 out of 19 shots, while Evan Rodriguez knocked down a pair of goals in the third period. UConn coach Dan Hurley will remain in the college ranks after turning down a 6-year, $70 million offer from the Lakers. That would have made him one of 6 highest paid coaches in the NBA. Hurley was already negotiating with UConn to become one of, if not the highest paid college head coach. Hey, tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our still brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Andes will get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, a whole lot of fun. And I don't know if you knew it, it's still brand new, and it's Wire to Wire. Oh, buddy. Something. Life goes on. I didn't stumble that much, Steven. It's still brand new, and because you guys criticize, it will be brand new forever. Until I actually have games that I can, preview. Then I will no longer mention them. Come on. What are you doing? Speaking of M&Ms, which preference? M&Ms with peanuts or M&Ms plain? Or is it a mood thing? M&M's peanuts or M&M's plain?
Peanut butter. Peanut butter is the correct answer.
All right.
Brownie M&Ms are pretty fire,
so that's not the question that I asked.
Plain.
Thank you.
Two.
Thank you for answering the question after goading.
But peanut butter, brownie bites, regular is the correct. Actually, I'm going to add another. Peanut butter, brownie bites, M&M minis, regular is the correct order. The minis are delightful.
So it's really difficult. Oh, I think a bird just kamikazed and died. It's really difficult for anyone in talk radio to give a straight answer because they feel like they have to give an answer that's debatable. When you're given an either or, they can't do it. Because you're put in a box. People don't like to be put in a box going, that's not how I think.
It's not.
Rob does that to me all the time.
I do.
I gotta go see if that bird died. Well, it dove right where my car is. That's the real reason.
Oh, so you don't care if the bird died. You just cared if it hit your car on the way down.
Yes.
PETA's going to be very upset with you, Lonzo.
So I've had run-ins with them before.
You had run-ins with PETA?
Yes. We were
story time with Lonzo, baby.
We were doing a sports show that I had for 14 years, by the way, over on WRD. And the circus came into town. We just happened to be talking about, I think we were giving away tickets.
Yeah.
And a PETA person called in to go at me about the elephants. And so, as is mostly what happens in talk radio, we're talking about, by the way, live on stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or X, some things that go on talk radio. If someone calls in like that, you have fun with it. And we did. And she went away mad.
Hot take.
Spitting mad.
Hot take. PETA is obnoxious as
It's up, man. It's not my fault.
Okay. I was gonna bleep there.
You missed your winder.
I missed my winder. PETA's obnoxious as, but also they're very right about the circus thing. All right. All
right. As I told the lady back in, I don't know, 2004 or something, those elephants probably are treated better than she is at home.
No, they're not. Yeah, not in the circus.
By the way, I don't know either is true.
No, I do.
And neither do you.
It's been covered many
You
times.
haven't been there yourself, so you don't know. Everything that you're talking about is hearsay.
Oh, I very much look forward to challenging more of your beliefs with the "you weren't there yourself" line of thought.
Yeah,
I do.
That's fine. That's fine.
However,
let's do this. If we're going to fight, let's fight. You want the fight joined? It is joined.
Embrace debate. That's the whole motto of this show.
This ain't debate. This is wanting to fight. There's a difference between debate and wanting to fight.
PETA's obnoxious, but they're right about the circus thing. All right, they just it's the one thing they got.
But
right.
By the way, from my understanding, there are no elephants in the circus anymore.
Good.
So because political correctness, fine, whatever.
Political correctness or animal cruelty?
Because every animal that's ever been in a circus has been mistreated, according to Rob Brown.
I can't say every.
There we go. See, that's how he believes.
But I can say a lot. Okay, so this is not a PETA segment, hilariously, because I want you guys on the text line, but not for that.
Yeah, and you would have been wrong. So it's time to move on.
No, I wouldn't be.
Well, you are wrong.
No, I'm not.
You're wrong right now.
I'm most certain.
You're wrong as your thought process is wrong, and I would like to reprogram you into proper thought.
That's terrifying. Hey, it's after 7:03. It is 7:03. Well, I mean, technically, it is after. No, it's not. It is currently
7:03 till it's 7:04. Come on.
Top 3 sports in.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
"Great, you guys, I'm going home."
Their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
Does Cartman rank in like top 10 all-time television antagonists?
I
absolutely does.
I have never watched an entire episode of South Park, but Chris Evans is amazing and does a killer.
He does a great
Cartman, and Cartman has a place in my heart because of the Upstate.
He
Pulse.
does do a great Cartman. You're not wrong.
The all-time greatest duo of all time, Goofy and Cartman. So
Texture says, Rob, don't talk about elephants being abused at the circus and act like horse racing is okay, hypocrite. You know what you're doing, Texture. You know what you're doing. Horse racing is dumb and bad, and we shouldn't do it anymore. All right? It's dumb and it's bad. It's dumb and it's bad.
What about,
it is both of the bad things.
What about greyhounds?
Dumb and bad. Why are we still doing it? We like.
I don't know if we are. I'm guessing we are. I've never been to. I've seen the dog track before, but I've never been to it.
I have, and the problem is.
Wait a minute. You actually went to a dog track?
We had one. We had one in Florida.
So you paid for the mistreatment of those animals.
Yeah, because I didn't know better, and then I learned and I grew and I got better as a person.
Right,
I became a better person.
And how have you went about fixing the bad thing that you did?
I have donated to. I'm not funded a damn thing in my life.
Funded.
I have donated.
You talked about you're laying $100,000 bet on Tiger, so I guess you could fund
I need
something.
Tiger to make the cut more than I need oxygen. All right. I do you understand? There's like very few sports regrets that I have in my life. I've told you the biggest one of all time is that I passed on an opportunity to go old Yankee Stadium. And I'll never forgive myself for that.
My biggest sports regret is playing football on Thanksgiving because I broke my knee. My life has been changed ever since. That's my biggest sports regret.
Lonzo's legs hurt all the time.
They do.
If you ever watch the stream, 90% of it is just Lonzo grimacing into the camera.
It's because it's weird pains. It's like when your third toe suddenly throbs.
I don't.
It's not supposed to do that.
No,
I don't. If it did, wouldn't you have the look on your face that I have on mine whenever that? It's like, wait, you can actually feel pain like that down there.
Not going to old Yankee Stadium was the biggest sports regret of my life. If Tiger misses the cut and I don't get to see him swing the big stick in person one time, I think that's going to be number 2 on the list.
Well, who's your next guy that you want to see there? Because the chances are Tiger thing ain't happening.
Prison Scotty, because seeing an athlete that is dominating at the time is always one of the best things. My man's got 5 wins on tour. He is the first guy to do it since Justin Rose did it in 2017.
Is he the next Tiger?
He is the current Tiger.
Okay.
Now, will he have the longevity of Tiger? I don't know. What stood out about Tiger was not the domination, because there have been a lot of guys that have had a year, maybe 2, similar to Tiger's time on the top. It was the fact that Tiger was on top for a friggin' decade.
He's winning tournaments. He's been arrested.
He is 1 9 under the skull from a Swedish bikini model away from replicating Tiger's entire run in a 1-year span.
I'm guessing that's probably not going to happen, but people didn't think it would happen when it happened with Tiger, so who knows?
Horse racing is dumb and bad. We should stop it. All right, water cooler cheat sheet top 3 sports story. Texture says South Carolina hung an elephant one time with a crane. I actually know that story. Is that wild that I've heard know that story?
Killed it with a crane?
Yeah, like they hung it.
Okay, all right. That's weird.
Yeah, it was. The elephant.
What did the elephant do?
The elephant trampled somebody one time.
Sounds like a myth.
It's honestly not. There's pictures of it. Bro, there's actual pictures of it.
Yeah, and there are pictures of aliens hanging out with Joe Biden. It doesn't mean it's real.
No, it
could be, though.
These pictures were around for like far longer than AI. It happened in the early 1900s. It was an elephant that came to the circus, and like 2 days after it got there, it went bananas. It trampled a handler. It was in a court of law, sentenced to death. They couldn't figure out what to do, so they got a crane, they put a noose around its neck, and they hung an elephant. IRL.
I still don't believe it. I'll look it up.
Look it up. I'll send it to you right now.
No, I want to find multiple sources, not the one that you sent me.
It was not in South Carolina. It was in Tennessee, Texas.
Wow. See, right away you believed it. You were there. You saw it. It was in South Carolina.
I've heard this story before.
Right.
I've read the story. The elephant's name was Mary. I remember the name of the elephant. The elephant's name was Mary.
Now I have the song "Along Comes Mary" stuck in my, or "The Wind Cries Mary," which would have been better because of the swinging of the crane.
Okay, now I'm just sad. Stop making me sad.
But it didn't happen in South Carolina. So the thing is, I don't believe right away when someone says, "Oh yeah, I've heard this," without actually seeing, some sort of evidence.
I respect it. I'll show you the newspaper clippings.
Yeah, but it
I've read
didn't
them
happen
before.
in South Carolina. So now what the text are saying
All right,
is not.
top 3 sports stories in sports. It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the 3 things you need to know before you get to the office and start talking. Although at this point, let's be real, you're not going to get there and start talking about sports. You're going to be like, Tennessee hung an elephant one time? Like, that's going to be your conversation.
No, I heard it happen in South Carolina.
It didn't happen in South Carolina.
I heard it on the radio.
Item number 1. Dan Hurley has decided that at least for now, the life of an NBAer is not for him. Turns down a 6-year, $70 million offer from the LA Lakers that would have made him one of the 6 highest paid coaches in the National Basketball Association. We say one of because with incentives and bonuses, we do not know where he would have ultimately ended up overall. Either way, he will not end up anywhere on that list as he is elected to return to the University of Connecticut for one more season. Will stay in charge of the Huskies and seek a three-peat with that team. If he pulls it off, UConn would become the first program to three-peat since the UCLA Bruins did it back in the 1960s, 70s, whenever it was, a very, very, very long time ago. I have given you the reasons I think he turned it down. I think he did not want to be in a spot where he was a scapegoat. I think he likely realized that the likelihood that his style of coaching would translate to the NBA is very low. Of the last 13 coaches who went from the college ranks to the NBA ranks, 2 of them could even be close to described as successful. Brad Stevens did it. Billy Donovan did it, and that's it. That's the list. Outside of that, overwhelmingly, guys who come up from the college ranks into a head coaching position do not work out. I also think the knowledge that, like it or not, LeBron's probably got 2 years max left in him, probably 1, and maybe fewer, depending on how much he is manufacturing his narrative about playing with Bronny, about playing with Bronny mattering to him. I think Dan Hurley saw that the Lakers are closer to a reboot than they are to a long string of seasons in contention. And for those reasons, Dan Hurley said no. Let's get to item numero dos. A couple of stories about the playoffs, one from hockey, one from the NBA. This is how I weasel 4 stories into 3. Let us begin in the NHL last night, where the Florida Panthers now have a commanding 2-1 lead over the Edmonton Oilers in the finals of Lord Stanley's Cup. Florida got a 4-1 victory last night. It got to 4 because of an error. He played empty netter to end it out. Evan Rodriguez ended up with a pair. He had an unassisted goal, just 3 and some change into the third period. He would then notch a power play goal 12 and a half minutes into the third. Nico Mikkola had a goal for the Cats in the second period. Matthias Elkom had the only score for the Edmonton Oilers. He got one about 11 and a half into the first period, but it was all Cats the rest of the way through. Edmonton has been struggling mightily on the power play. They did score a penalty kill shorty last night because they had a player tossed a 5-minute game misconduct that put them shorthanded for a half a 10. And they did score the shorthanded goal. But 6 power plays awarded by the Florida Panthers to the Edmonton Oilers, and the Oilers scored on none of them. Florida is dominating the special teams in this Stanley Cup playoff so far, and it is showing up not just on the scoreboard game by game, but it has shown up in the series tally as well. The Cats will now take it up to, Canada, with a 2-0 lead over the Oilers. Over in the NBA, finals. Kristaps Porzingis vows, I love this, vows to play in Game 3 after his Game 2 injury. Porzingis would not reveal specifically what the injury was, but said it was not connected to his previous injury. He said that he felt something and felt a little limited after, but that he is ready to play in Game 3 and said, quote, I would die out there, end quote, if he has to in order to win a title. He said, obviously something happened. I have a couple of days again. Believe me, we'll do everything we can to be back and moving well. Asked if he intends to play in Game 3, he said, not difficult at all. I'll die out there if we need it, end quote. This is the first NBA Finals in the 8th NBA season for the 28-year-old Kristaps Porzingis, whose Boston Celtics now have a 2-0 lead over the Dallas Mavericks.
I hope he doesn't die out there.
I need you not to do that, Kristaps. I really do. All right? I really do. Like, I think enough of us are NASCAR fans that we have experienced that tragedy, and none of us want to do it again. So maybe don't die. Maybe, I mean, if you get a little more hurt, you get a little more hurt. It happens. If you're willing to sacrifice your body long term for a trophy, I respect that. But maybe don't commit to it. Maybe it's a little aggressive. Item number 3 on the water cooler cheat sheet. South Carolina needs a new baseball coach. And according to reports yesterday, they are one step closer to signing one. It is former LSU head coach Paul Mainieri. Paul Mainieri has emerged as the focus of South Carolina's search for the new HC, according to Pete Thamel, confirming multiple reports. The 66-year-old Paul Mainieri coached LSU for 15 seasons, leading the Tigers, go Tigers, to the 2009 national title. He also went to 5 Men's College World Series appearances. Mainieri left the Tigers in 2021 and said that he was retired at the time, but now he is number 1 in line to return to the Southeastern Conference, this time the Gamecocks, where he would replace Mark Kingston, who was fired last week after 7 seasons. The Gamecocks finished 37-25 and 13-17 in the SEC this season. It ended with a 2-0 loss to James Madison in the Raleigh Regional of the NCAA tournament, a regional that would ultimately be won by its host, NC State, who did defeat Georgia last night in the final elimination game of the Super Regionals and round out the Omaha bracket. 8 spots, 4 of them go to the SEC, 4 of them go to the ACC. The Gamecocks have not reached the Men's College World Series since 2012. They won the Natty in 2010 and went back-to-back in 2011. Prior to arriving in Baton Rouge in 2007, Mainieri spent 6 seasons at St. Thomas, 6 at Air Force, and 12 at Notre Dame. He holds a career record of 1,501, 774, and 8. Gamecock fans, how we feel about this move? How do you feel about taking a 66-year-old coach who was retired up until he wasn't? How do you feel about bringing in a guy who walked away from another school? And in fairness, it was pretty widely reported around Baton Rouge at the time that Mainieri walked away, because he was a fan favorite of the Tigers. When he walked away, it was pretty widely reported that he was dealing with some health issues that weren't necessarily getting thrown out into the public eye out of respect to Paul Mainieri, and that it was the health issues more than a loss of drive or desire that led to Paul Mainieri walking away from LSU. How do you feel about bringing in a guy who is not a cast-off? He was not casted off. He left on his own volition.
This wasn't an Urban Meyer kind of leaving the game.
No, this
thing.
was a guy who genuinely had some health issues that caused him to walk away. He had a very successful tenure at LSU, like we mentioned, over 15 years. He went to the College World Series 1 out of every 3. He did win 1 national championship when he was there. I will be honest with you, as somebody who covered LSU, because Destin, Florida is Baton Rouge East, there's a ton of Louisianians there. As somebody who covered that program at some length when I lived down there, it was actually kind of shocking that Paul Maneri only got 1, because LSU is absolutely a baseball destination on the national scale. So I'm a little interested, but I am more concerned about, with a lot of guys out there, guys like Pollard that we have talked about, that are currently navigating the current college baseball and college athletics landscape. And at a point in time where I think South Carolina may have to fight to recruit a little more hard, nope, that's not the right word, with a little more difficulty than they have in years gone by because of said landscape, is a 66-year-old guy who has been out of the league for a couple of years now and who has not coached in the modern era of college athletics. Is he the right decision? Is he the best you could do? Or is this bringing a guy who has been on the national stage, who is coached in a place where there is a ton of pressure and demand for success in LSU, who has been to the dance and who has gotten a trophy out of it? Where do you fall on that? We are going to talk about that later in the hour, but when we come back, yesterday, we had a conversation about leaving Caitlin Clark off of the roster and putting Diana Taurasi on it. I said Taurasi brings the Kobe factor, and I told you about a clip that explained that. I'm going to play that for you, and we're going to talk about it next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, quick live, and we're coming back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you. All right, dudes and dudettes, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it.
Welcome to the ultimate playground for online social casino enthusiasts. Get ready to live the Chumba life and play over 100 online casino-style games for free at ChumbaCasino.com.
Chumba. Diana Taurasi is 41 years old. She will be the oldest member of Team USA women's basketball in their quest for a gold medal at the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris, France. I made the argument earlier this week that Caitlin Clark should have had that roster spot. I made the argument not just because she is, to me, with all due respect to Diana Taurasi, a better basketball player at this stage in Diana Taurasi's career. And again, Diana Taurasi is having a very, very good season at 41 years of age. She is averaging 30 minutes a game. If I tried to play 31 minutes right now, I would, and this is true, die. Literally, I think. Like me and Porzingis, dead. All right? Dead, cause of death, over basketballed. But she's playing 30 minutes a game. She's getting you just shy of 16 points. She's getting you just shy of 5 boards. She's getting you just shy of 2 assists a game. It's a solid season for Diana Taurasi. Caitlin Clark has more points per game. She has more assists per game. She has more rebounds per game. She has more steals per game. And she is doing all of that on what is objectively the second worst team in the WNBA right now. She's a better player today, right now, this second. But I also acknowledge there are aspects of sports that fans don't always take into consideration when they are having arguments like this one. And this is one of those times for me because, as I've said, I put up a TikTok yesterday at The Rob Brown Show. It is also on my Instagram page at The Rob Brown Show, and I will be uploading it to the Fan Upstate's YouTube channel right after the show is over and we conclude the live stream today. I have made the argument that Caitlin Clark should go, but I understand the inclusion of Diana Taurasi. And the reason why is because she's Kobe-esque. She is a natural roster leader. Yesterday, I told the story of a clip that went around from the Redeem Team documentary, which if you haven't watched it, it's a great documentary. I actually sat down and watched about half of it last night before I drifted off into my cherub slumber. But there's a moment in this documentary that really stood out to me and went, okay, that's why you bring Diana Taurasi. Because while Caitlin Clark is putting up better numbers, they're not dramatically better numbers, to keep it a buck. They're not dramatically better numbers. They are better, but not like, oh God, look how much better numbers. This is why you bring Diana Taurasi. Here is a clip from that documentary, the Redeem Team documentary. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's spectacular. You are going to hear multiple voices, and I won't pick them out as they play, but you are going to hear the voices of LeBron James. You're going to hear the voice of Dwayne Wade. You're going to hear the voice of Chris Bosh. You're going to hear the voice of Paul Gasol. And you're going to hear the voice of Carmelo Anthony, all who were on that team. The setup is this. Game number 1 against Spain of the Redeem Team Olympics. Spain was supposed to be one of the most competitive games that team was going to play. Paul Gasol, who was playing for the Lakers and winning championships with them at the time, was a member of Team Spain. Kobe Bryant was his teammate with the LA Lakers. There's the setup. Here's the clip.
Kobe said he's going to set the tone to start the game. And he said, I'm running through Paul's chest.
First play of the game, I'm running through Paul Gasol. We was like, what?
Man, you tripping. No, that's your teammate. You tripping. You ain't about to do that.
He said, first play of the game, I know what they're going to run. And he knew Powell's going to be the last screen. And he said, I'm running through them.
I swear, the first play of the game. We was like, holy shit.
He just went right to the middle of my chest, trying to get right through me to send a message. To not just to me, but to his teammates. And say, hey, this might be my brother. I play with him. We're close. But I don't care about anything else but winning.
I'm right there in front of the bench, like, wow.
Oh, yo.
And he was just like, no, he ain't my teammate right now. And get up. I'm like, I love this energy. This is what we need.
It's like he did that to his teammate. Oh my God. We was like, oh, ain't no way. Ain't no way we losing this game. We about to beat the out of Spain.
That's why you bring Diana Taurasi. Because that is who Diana Taurasi is going to be. Diana Taurasi at UConn and Diana Taurasi throughout her entire WNBA career has been nothing shy of a killer. She is that player. She is her. She is the player that is going to run through chest. She is the player that is going to blow up screens. She is the player that is going to, at any given point in time, become ruthless and relentless on the basketball court. Do I think Caitlin Clark should have gotten the call? Yes, I do. That is not going to change. I think Caitlin Clark has been left off of the roster for a variety of reasons. No, I do not think that racism is one of them. But I think there was some concern about, as has been mentioned, distraction. I think there was some concern about Caitlin Clark overshadowing everybody else on the roster. Let's be real, she woulda. I think there was some concern about the drama that would have come around the selection of Caitlin Clark. Because there was at least one, but probably multiple other rookies that would have went, well, if Caitlin Clark, why not me? And I think they wanted to avoid all of those things. She still should have gone. However, if Caitlin Clark's not going to go, Diana Taurasi to Olympics number 6 is a selection that I am totally on board with. And I am totally on board with that selection because she's going to bring that to Team USA in the Olympics. She is going to bring the attitude of, I do not care who you are. I do not care what our relationship is. I have one goal, one mission, one objective: to win one more gold medal on the way out. And she is the gal on this roster that everyone else will fall in line behind to make that happen. Should have been CC, but if it's not going to be, Diana Taurasi's the play to give you that on this roster. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show to talk South Carolina baseball on the Fan Upstate. Bow, 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 bow.
Then Tennessee battles Florida State. The 8 winners of Super Regionals are split into 2 double elimination brackets. Then the 2 winners meet in the College World Series Finals. That's a best-of-3 format. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute of safe traffic. Construction work along I-85 near Pelham Road there at the exit. So northbound I-85, that's heavy back towards I-385. Southbound I-85, pretty heavy there back beyond Brockton, the climb, and also a little bit of activity. I-85 at Gossett Road, you've got some construction there blocking part of the on and off ramps. They say it's like
3 to 7 M&M. No, it was not 3 to 7 M&Ms.
That was after my read, and he was talking about my read. Then I brought up the M&M's thing. Then you didn't answer the question that I asked, and told us 10 other M&Ms that were better than the 2 choices.
Okay,
this was like a long time ago.
3 other M&Ms. I know. I was saying,
but
I didn't mention 7.
No, none of it had to do with you. That was there because of my read.
What did you say about 3 to 7 M&Ms in the read?
I mumbled. And there were a lot of M's in there.
Gotcha.
No, all M's and M's are not candy. I made it a candy thing.
Speaking of a candy.
He made that comment almost an hour ago, by the way. If you look at the time.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to get active with the chat.
Okay.
All right. It's a ploy.
Okay.
It's a shtick.
It only took you an hour to do it. But,
Speaking of candy, first off, it was 40 minutes. Person that I am dating.
I rounded up.
Speaking of candy,
it was a Southern hour.
I found a website online that sells 5-pound gummy bears.
Mm-hmm.
So I just sent one to my nephew.
Yeah,
I didn't tell him it's coming. He's just going to get a package in the mail with a 5-pound gummy bear.
They have those at Broadway at the beach at Myrtle Beach. They have a candy store there that has those. Yeah.
I'm just very excited about
they are that heavy when you pick them up.
I'm very excited about the text from little brother that just says, bro, what the bleep? Because it's coming. Because I had them include a card that said, let Lou open this so that there's no hiding it from him. Did they officially announce that, Trey? Is that official?
I told you it was coming.
I know, but like we have a date now?
Trey wouldn't jump in there.
July?
Yeah, that would be like the night before the 4th. Ooh.
No, that would be the night before the 1st.
Well, I thought he said the 3rd. That looks like 7/31. Okay. I didn't see the 1.
We'll get you there, bud.
All right.
Let's see.
Again,
yeah, no.
There's a glare.
July 31st, All Elite Wrestling will be here in the Upstate, getting an edition of AEW Dynamite. Yes, Trey, the answer is I'll be there.
We already knew. I told Rob about it because I was told by a reliable
We knew it was coming.
source.
You didn't know the date.
I did tell you the month. And you went and looked and couldn't find it.
It wasn't announced.
It wasn't announced yet.
Now we have a date.
I don't understand why there's a fight right here.
It's not a fight.
It's sort of.
You're just like, oh, you ignored what I said. No, I didn't. You didn't know the date. Now we have a confirmed date. All I said was it's confirmed.
I don't think I said that, but okay.
You did.
Yeah. All right.
July 31st, AEW. And that also means, of course, that over the next, let's say, month or so, we'll have a couple of pro wrestlers coming on the show between here and there.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
We were already discussing that too. So, yeah.
We weren't with the people listening.
Yeah, I'm aware of this.
Okay.
Because we can't tell them everything.
No, we can't. We have many secrets. Many, many secrets. Hey, let's talk South Carolina baseball for a minute. Paul Maneri, former LSU Tiger, former Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Is he just a Fighting Irish? Former Notre Dame Fighting Irishman.
He's only one dude, so he would have to be. Yeah.
Fighting Irishman. former coach at Notre Dame and former coach at Air Force Academy over many years of coaching collegiate hardball, has apparently, according to Pete Thamel and multiple other sources, emerged as the primary target in the search for the replacement for Mark Kingston as the head baseball coach at South Carolina. And my question here for all of you Gamecock fans is, are we good with that? Are we good with that? Now, I have already said to you, I honestly think this is a massive hiring for Ray Tanner as the athletic director.
I have a baseball question here that I don't know the answer to, because I've noticed in the MLB, they hire a lot of older guys to manage their team.
Sure do. Ron Washington's 100.
Is that not a thing in college baseball? Because you're making a big deal about his age.
It is not the age. Scratch that. It is partially the age. He is 66 years old. I subscribe to something that Bill Parcells said. I like Bill Parcells a lot. Bill Parcells had a lot of Parcellsisms that roll with me.
Didn't he also like park in handicap spots so he could get into the steak places? I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I'm pretty sure that was him. Had like a fake handicap sticker. So
I wouldn't be shocked by it.
Get in, get his steak, and didn't have to walk as far.
I'm not saying I subscribe to everything about Bill Parcells. I'm just saying that if you gave Bill Parcells a mic, very frequently he would say something that you go, okay, it is what it is a Parcellsisms. It is what it is I got that from Bill. That is at least where I got it from, is Bill Parcells. Maybe somebody else said it and Parcells made it his own.
When I hear I think of a different Bill.
Depends on what the definition of the word is Bill Clinton, not my strongest.
No, not even
not
close.
My strongest. Anyway, Bill Parcells, the philosopher that he was, one of my favorites.
Yeah, his grocery take was very good.
You gotta let me buy the groceries. You want me to cook dinner? You gotta let me buy the groceries. And again, did you not as a person go, yeah, that makes sense. That checks out. Right? That checks out.
And if the food's bad, it's your fault.
Yes. With great power comes great responsibility, said Uncle Ben, correctly, by the way.
So you've managed to like bring in a bunch of old people, like South Carolina's about to do.
That's your best work today. Here's why I bring it up. Bill Parcells, a number of years ago, said, coaches have expiration dates. Coaches have an unknowable date where their message, the way that they communicate, will not resonate anymore. And it's an interesting way to say that the older that you get, the harder it is to reach these kids. The older that you get, the harder it is to understand the kids. The older that you get, the harder it becomes to communicate with the kids. And, at a professional level, the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, whatever, you can kind of get away with that a little bit longer, because even if they are dem Utes, Yana, they are still paid professionals. They still understand that there are lots of zeros on a paycheck that come into play with understand, grasp, get, and execute. And it's not to say that that's not true with scholarships in baseball, but I don't know about all of you. I can say that at 18, 19, and 20 years old, I was, and this is true, a complete, entire 100% dumb, like top to bottom. And so I did and said many things in the college scholarship era of Rob Brown that almost 40-year-old Rob Brown would not advise his younger self to do and or say. And as a college coach, there is some level of requirement for you to be able to, I'll say it, drop down to the level of an idiot college kid and communicate with them your expectations, their responsibilities, and what they need to do to execute in the face of those things. Now, I'm not saying that Paul Mainieri is outside of his expiration date in his ability to do that.
When's the last time there was something new in baseball as far as how baseball is played?
It is not about the X's and the O's or the drag bunts or the double plays. It is more about how to make sure that a baseball player is doing everything they can in terms of developing themselves as a player. Because while I will agree that baseball being the royal and ancient sport that it is, at the end of the day, baseball is baseball. At the end of the day, a lot of the concepts that I would teach my, middle school baseball team are the same concepts that you would teach your college baseball team. But there are elements of development that are different. Developing as a player, as a position player, as a hitter. The talent's getting better. College pitchers today are what MLB pitchers were 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Cody Decker loves to bring up the point that in the movie The Rookie, there's a scene where the main character goes, "They clocked me on the radar gun at 100 miles an hour." And his wife goes, "Is that good?" And he goes, "Baby, you could count on one hand the number of pitchers that can throw 100 miles an hour." Now, every single roster has 2 to 3 guys on it that throw 100 miles an hour. College pitchers today are what big league pitchers were a decade ago, 15 years ago. So you've got to continue not just to develop them, you've got to develop hitters to counter the growth and the maturation of college pitchers, etc. And I just have concerns that a 66-year-old Paul Mainieri, who has been out of the game for 4 seasons now, isn't going to be able to communicate as effectively, especially in an era where college athletes have more autonomy about their life than they have ever had before. It used to be, and I'm not saying this was Paul Mainieri. From what I understand, Paul Mainieri was a great dude, and players loved playing for Paul Mainieri. But college coaches used to be able to run a cheerocracy, not a democracy, a cheerocracy. It was their way or the highway. And it's not really like that anymore, because now if you go, it's not your way, it's my way or the highway. If you are good enough to play at a South Carolina or an LSU, you're good enough to go get a scholarship to play at College of Charleston, or to go play at Wofford, or to go play at Coastal Carolina, or to go play at any of these mid-major schools that are also threats to win the College World Series. The opportunity for a player to go, "Nah, screw this coach, I am out with a capital O," is higher than it's ever been before.
You missed your opportunity to say just one more fight about your leadership. Since you quoted that song.
And I will straight up leave your, 'cause I've had enough of it. And now I'm, that's Lonzo bringing the Limp Bizkit lyrics to the house.
You quoted Limp Bizkit word for word the entire time. And that's probably the only Limp Bizkit song that I actually have on my Spotify, because it was used as a wrestling intro. So
this time I'm going to let it all hang out.
I believe Triple H and Shawn Michaels were going
this time I'm going to stand up and
Yeah.
shout. I'm going to do things my way.
So what you're saying
it's
is
my way.
My
way
you
or the
didn't do that on
highway.
purpose?
No, I actually did not.
Okay. All right.
I mean, in retrospect, I should have.
Well, all right. We all heard it.
We all know the great philosopher of the West, Fred Durst. Old fast Freddie Durst.
Hey, Diesel's beard is quivering right now. You're on a fine line. Don't you go at the Limp Bizkit now.
Are you kidding? I love Limp Bizkit. To this day, I will listen
Obviously,
to Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavored water.
Since you just quoted almost the entire song.
All-time great.
In the end, baseball is hit ball, catch ball, throw ball.
Break your face tonight. Give me something to break. It is. You're not wrong. On the diamond between first and third, second to home, baseball's baseball. Where baseball isn't baseball anymore is the development of players, is bringing players along, is getting players to be the best baseball players that they can be. It is far more advanced than it ever has been. And again, if my guy is 66 and he's been out of the game for a while, will he be able to talk to a 19-year-old baseball player in the modern era of college sports? In the modern era of college sports, where players can quite literally one day go, hey, you know what? I'm out. I don't like it here anymore. And they can just go. And if they find another school, they can just go. And they can do it as often as they want, right? Just like you with your job. If you decide one day that you hate the manager, you can just go get a new job.
All right. It doesn't work that way, really, because after a while, when you're like at your fifth job in the same year and a prospective job, the person hiring goes, okay, why have you been at 4 other jobs this year?
That is,
sorry, you're not our type of person.
You ready for the biggest argument I've ever had in the radio outside of put a dome over every NFL stadium? Here's the biggest argument.
Like every day I walk in, it's the biggest argument.
Embrace debate. You and I, actually not even you and I, like we're in a job that there is a high level of demand for, okay? But normal people, please don't take this disrespectfully. I don't mean it to be. You're all very special and unique, and I love you.
Oh, okay. So you're talking to them. You're not talking to me.
Correct.
All right. I'm good.
Correct. Normal people, there's the old concept of, well, what athletes get paid $100 million? Because 75,000 people pay a lot of money to go see them multiple times a year, right? Like that's how. College athletes ain't a dime a dozen that play top-level college baseball. It is one thing if you're a grocery shelf stocker or a car wash attendant or whatever. Yeah, if you go, bleep you, Mr. Manager, man, I'm out, you're replaced in a day. You're replaced in an hour. They got a stack of resumes to replace you with. That's not true of a guy that can bat .330 at the college baseball level. There ain't a stack of resumes like that. It is the way that a guy like a James Harden can blow up every team he's ever been on. And yet, the minute he leaves Brooklyn, what happens? Somebody goes and pays him a buttload of money to come do it to them, too.
You've seen the video of his girlfriend catching the...
Yes, but pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
In that moment, James Harden was all of us. All of us. But like I said, James Harden blew up multiple teams in a row. And what happened when James Harden became a free agent again? They had teams lining up to get that cat because he's one of very few people that can do what he does. So, in an era where college athletes have more autonomy than they've ever had before, and they can just go full limp biscuit, I'm out, deuces, and leave, can a 66-year-old guy who last reached the College World Series 9 years ago or whatever it was show up in the modern era, not having coached in multiple years, and just win? And just win. And the answer is TBH. I don't know. I don't know. I know guys like Pollard can do it. They're already doing it. The young man up and I know Kevin O'Sullivan at Florida can do it. He's literally doing it right now. I know that Tom Walter at Wake Forest, another name that was floated, can do it. He's doing it right now. I know these guys can do it. I don't know if Maneri can do it. I don't know that Maneri hasn't been out of the game enough that he advanced his coaching expiration date a la Bill Parcells. And that concerns me. I will say this. As much as Shane Beamer is, I think this is the biggest hire of Ray Tanner. Because if this coach fails and your softball coach fails and your equestrian coach fails, because I know we're big on the equestrian net around here. They're getting a new equestrian coach.
Yeah, we could discuss horses, but we're not going to. See last hour.
If those coaches all nobody takes care of their animal like a horse girl takes care of her horses. All right. Horse girls are they're if you're a horse girl listening, sorry, horse girls are friggin' weird. I dated one very, very briefly. They're weird. Okay.
Yeah, that's why you dated her.
I wouldn't want to date her. If Ray Tanner botches this hire, if Paul Maneri shows up with the resume that he has and he fails, I think it is at that point that the South Carolina fans will turn on Ray Tanner. If he fails and Shane Beamer doesn't show marked improvement with the football team this year, I know the Gamecock fans will turn on Ray Tanner. The last few holdouts will stop holding out. I'm going to go in the other room and listen to one Limp Bizkit song while Lonzo reads his sports flash. Yeah!
Yeah. Now that Clemson's out of it, the college baseball national championship bracket is set after North Carolina State knocked off Georgia in the final elimination game of the Super Regional yesterday. All 8 spots are occupied by 4 ACC and 4 SEC schools. Just no Clemson. Games will start Friday at 1 with North Carolina and Virginia, followed by Tennessee and Florida State. On Saturday, Kentucky will face North Carolina State, and Texas A&M will play Florida. The bracket is double elimination, with the national championship being determined in a 3-game series starting June 22nd. Florida Panthers led the Stanley Cup after finishing off the second game at home with a 4-1 win over Edmonton Oilers. Sergei Bobrovsky, Bob, had another stellar game, saving 18 out of 19 shots. Hey, tune in this afternoon from 7 to 3 p.m. For our still brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel are both on it, and it's Wire to Wire. Go ahead, Steven, if you're listening. Let me have it, because it was, I know. No, my head hurts. It's not an excuse, it's a reason, and I'm trying to fight through it without taking medicine, because if I take even ibuprofen, I lose my edge, and I need it today because Rob wants to fight, so I can't. I'll lose my edge, and I'll lose every fight, whereas usually I win every fight, so yeah, I don't want to do that. So I'll just suffer through, it's only 8 o'clock, 2 more hours of pain. Or I'll just take some ibuprofen here in a second. Probably a better move. Who needs an edge? Oh!
You need some Limp Bizkit?
Jaws pop.
Oh, that is the worst.
Yeah.
Happens to me about once a month.
Well, my jaw's been stuck in the wrong place for like 2 weeks, so I don't think it completely came out, but
like Cam Poppy in the jaw one time. I'll set it back.
No, Shane, doctors cost money, and I don't want to spend
There it is.
Yeah. I don't want
Vlad Guerrero's back got stuck in the foul ball net about
I
20
heard
feet above the dugout, and they spent a bunch of time throwing baseballs at it, could not get it out. So Chris Bassett, who is a country boy, went and grabbed a broomstick, built a handle, a loop on it to reach up there, and then the stick got stuck.
Yeah, I heard Amy Lawrence talking about it this morning.
It was funny.
So did the bat slip out of his hand?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank goodness no one died. It's a good move that the net was there, apparently.
That's exactly why the net is there.
I'm guessing it's Lord of the Rings, Stephen, not Lots of the Rings.
Lots of the Rings. Very different show. It's a reality show about a jewelry store.
Yeah, extended version is, and they still didn't get everything that's in the books in there.
You want to know the weirdest thing? Courtney won't watch it because the Hobbit house gives her claustrophobia. When Gandalf ducks in to walk in for the first time, we tried to watch it, and she's like, I can't watch this, and walked away.
You should have her watch the making of it so she can see that it's really not that bad. I guess you're not going to New Zealand to visit those anytime soon.
I will leave her behind for that. I should book one of those as an Airbnb one day and not tell her. Just show up.
It seems to me that they were for sale recently. I could be wrong.
The fiance, our boy Steven in the chat, P1 in the chat, Steven, on the stream at facebook.com/TheFanUpstate on YouTube and Twitter at The Fan Upstate on The Rob Brown Show on YouTube and Twitch at The Rob Brown Show, said that he and his wife are burning through the extended editions of Lord of the Rings. So we're 10 and a half hours in and I'm losing her, which is about right. It's about right. If you're not a Lord of the Rings fan, about 10 and a half hours in is a long way in. For some reason, the fiance has this huge aversion to the Hobbit house. When she saw Gandalf have to first off, why is the doorknob in the middle of the door for that? It's a weird play. Like, that's just a lot of extra effort.
Because that's what hobbits do.
It's bad engineering from the hobbits.
I don't know.
It just is. Anyway.
Have you ever tried it?
I don't need to. I know how physics works.
Well, okay, fine.
They're
really heavy doors, so they need to get a little extra oomph behind it that you wouldn't be able to get over there.
That's why you put it on the outside.
Yeah, and they're also short.
You've
never been short since you were like 4.
Short has nothing to do with left and right, Bryce. Short has to do with up and down. Bryce Young, because he's short.
No, I got it.
I was making the joke for you.
No, I was amazing. I'm glad I was there for that.
You're welcome. Anyway, she has an aversion to the Hobbit house, and when Steven brought that up and I told that story on the stream, I went and looked, and there are a number of Hobbit houses that have been built around the continental United States. And it's awful that the first thought I had was, I should book one of those on a vacation and not tell her.
I'm sure those are made for normal sized people to go into.
There's at least one that I found that is a genuine life-size Hobbit house. And I really.
You mean like 6-foot ceilings or whatever it is? Okay. All right.
Like, my big ass is going to have to duck to walk around. And I really want to just get one and not tell her that's what we're doing. But I also would like to not be divorced before I get hitched.
Claustrophobia is a real thing. And I think as you get older, it gets worse. That never bothered me. But, like people in coffins and things like that, that's just because nightmares.
The Rob Brown Show carries on. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo with you here on the show. Can I tell you the great joy that I am taking in the meltdown of LA Lakers fans? It is just beyond enjoyable. I have said on my nationally syndicated radio program, Bet for the Cycle, which airs every Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetQL network, on fine Odyssey stations nationwide and on the Odyssey app. I have said many times, there are a few fan bases in whom's joy, pain, I take great joy. The Dallas Cowboys are one. Like, it's an annual festive holiday at my home when the Cowboys get eliminated from the playoffs and I just get to celebrate. Sorry, Cole. Love you, dog.
See, you're a mean person because I don't take any pleasure in any fan base being criticized or looked down upon, because I would never do such a thing. I'm above that.
That is why 2 days after it happened, when I put a college baseball story into the Flash, Lonzo finds a way to work in the fact that the Tigers got bumped.
Wait. I thought that was written that way.
No, I definitely did not write that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Send all hate mail courtesy of the great one at the Fan Upstate.
As per yesterday, 25 Garlington Road.
Yeah, just tell them where we are, dude.
I think it's pretty easy to find out. And make sure it's like newspaper clippings with different size letters.
You ever had anybody confront you? Like, confront you?
Dude.
Like, you SOB?
Yeah, I had people show up to live events back in the day, to the point where we were short-staffed, and I brought someone. I talked to promotions to get someone to come to the places just to be a buffer. and his name is Chris Evans. You can ask him about that because, yeah, I've had people drive all the way to where I was because I was being critical of a certain team to get in my face and scream at me.
Was it?
I don't know.
I, for one, am shocked.
Yeah, I've been threatened. Oh, I'm going to be out in the parking lot. It's like, okay. And I always pointed at the time of myself being 6'5" with black hair and very skinny. That's what Matt Tomlinson looks like. So anyway,
I've only been confronted once. It was by a Florida State fan, as a matter of fact, down in Destin, Florida. I went on the radio one day and said that Bobby Bowden was old, past his prime. He didn't get it anymore, and he needed to be fired. And I had a guy show up at 6:35 in the morning, pounding on the glass to get into the studio to have at me. I actually play-by-played it live because the spot we were in, our old studio, was down on the bottom floor, and the window to the studio looked at the front door. So I'm watching this guy, and I'm play-by-playing this guy having a rant on the front door, screaming at it, not knowing I could see him.
Yeah, I've only worked with one other guy who could do the things that I can do to make people angry, and he's now in Detroit.
You guys were such buds. I loved it.
I respect his ability to
infuriate people.
Yes, it's not easy to and survive, especially being as slight as he is.
Thrive.
No, I meant physically.
Oh, literally survive.
As slight as he is, and yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't been beat up multiple. It probably happened in school a lot, I'm guessing, because he was also a band nerd, and
So I have taken great joy in the suffering of certain franchises at the professional level over the years. The LA Lakers are very much one of them. And yesterday's meltdown when UConn coach Dan Hurley spurned by the way, my favorite thing, I'm a big language guy. I love words. That's why all my jobs are words jobs. All my jobs involve a microphone for a reason. I like wordplay. I like people's ability to utilize. I don't like it in politics, and I think it is primarily what politics is nowadays. But in sports, I love when people manipulate words to evoke emotion out of other people, because that's part of fandom, right? Is getting upset about things that in the grand scheme of our lives don't matter at all.
Yeah, watch this. Urban Meyer.
Son of a biscuit. That guy sucks a lot, just as a person. Any hoodles. Yesterday, I get online after it was announced that, by the way, the grass is cut, since y'all cared so much.
Hey, it's good to know. I don't know if you have an HOA, but if you did.
I don't. I'll never live with an HOA again. I'll never do it. I'll be homeless before I live under an HOA. If you're listening and you're in an HOA or run an HOA, please know I think you're probably a fine person, except when you put on the HOA badge, in which case I can't stand the sight of you anymore. Also, I went to cut the grass yesterday. The fiance gets home and she goes, I want to cut the grass. I like cutting the grass. I don't like that you did it last time. So I did. And wouldn't you know it, while she's cutting the grass, Rob Brown went and sat out on the front porch because he's a bad person. Went out and sat on the front porch and was just relaxing in the sun with the dog. And a family walks by, wife, husband, 3 kids. And as they're walking in front of me, I genuinely caught death eyes from the wife. You son of
Did they say, get off your butt, Harrison?
They said nothing.
I was hoping you would get the joke. But
they said nothing verbally. No, I get it.
Yeah, that was pretty funny if you would have been there. Yeah.
Don't call me a kicker. I'm better than that. That's not true. Kickers are people too, and they deserve love and admiration.
Did you have an umbrella drink?
No,
I mean, because if you're going to do it, dude, you should do it.
I absolutely did have a big old glass of water. Though.
Okay, all right.
Right now, I went to the gas station. I got her the Gatorade Zero that she likes. I got her little chocolate treat for when she was done. And that sounds worse now that I say that out loud. I regret that sentence.
What the heck are you doing?
I regret that sentence. I got her little reward for doing a good job.
I tell you what, I won't even make that into a promo because I'm not going to.
I'd like to be married before I'm divorced.
Yeah.
What I meant was What I meant was she has her favorite little candy bar. She's got a little mini candy bar she likes. I went and got her one because I was thinking about her, and I'm a great fiance. Not that I got her a little treat for doing a good job. So I'm sitting on the porch. She's right. In fairness, it's a riding lawnmower. All right, let's not act like she's out there shoving an old push mower around for an hour and a half.
Is it a zero turn or is it?
It's not a zero turn, but
right.
it is a low radius turn, and we got a big yard.
Okay.
So, like, it's not the most difficult grass cutting job in the world.
One of my favorite things is to be out on the mower, podcast or some music playing, and just out there in the sun.
See, that's hers.
I know.
That's hers. That's her thing. That's her zen. She loves being on the lawnmower, turning circles. She listens to Taylor or whatever she's listening to. All right. She loves all that stuff. And that's her zen. In fact, I cut the grass last time. She came home yesterday. I had pulled the mower out. I gassed it up. I had the key. I was about to go outside. She's like, no, let me do it. And I'm like, no, I got it. You just go rest. And she's like, no, I want to cut the grass. I like cutting the grass. So I went and I sat on the porch. There's nothing else to do. I'd done the weed whacking. Everything else was done. So I'm sitting on the porch. Husband, wife, 3 kids walk by. And wife is giving me the look. Like, you absolute patriarchal. Where'd my beep go? Why again? Man.
Fader's up, yo.
No, it's the stupid computer. You absolute of the patriarchy, Rob Brown. It's like, she wants to do this, guys. Stop judging me. So I just went back inside. I was like, I'm going to just let her look like a single white female cutting the grass on her own.
Yeah, hey, bro, want me to tell you how to make this happen?
Hey, big dog, why don't you let your wife take care of the kids? Come have a beer with me. I got cold ones up here. You want to crack a beer? All right, anyway. LA fans. Let's go back to where I was trying to get there a second ago. I've enjoyed the meltdown from LA fans. Dan Hurley spurns. Oh, that was it. It was a language thing. I love that the websites yesterday, all of them, just the websites. The websites as a whole yesterday were like, Dan Hurley rejects Lakers. Dan Hurley spurns Lakers offer. And it's like, did he? Did he? Or did he just make a decision about what job was better for him and his family? Right? But there is such a damn sense of entitlement about the big squads. It is LA. It is New York. It is Dallas. It is Chicago. Those cities primarily, I'm sure there's more if I sat and thought about it. But those cities primarily have an ego about them that watching it get checked annually is like one of my favorite things in sports. It just is. I take an almost equal amount of joy out of watching Lakers fans, of which, by the way, Cody Decker's one. He's a Lake Show guy. He grew up in LA, all right? I love Cody Decker like a bro, like a brother. Love Cody. Cody and I have become genuinely friends away from Bet for the Cycle. Love that guy. But if you don't think that I immediately checked in on every bit of social media and live broadcast radio that Deck Show was doing yesterday when Hurley said no thanks to the Lakers, I don't know what to tell you. Because the Lakers fans had this like Game of Thrones, I'm the king, no one says no to me attitude about it. And it was freaking hilarious. Because they had to come to the realization that at least one person in America said, no, thank you. I'm not going to say the Big East is mid-major, but it is. At least one person said a mid-tier college conference job, even if it is at arguably one of the most prestigious basketball institutions in America. A mid-tier basketball program, no, a top-tier basketball program at a mid-tier university is a better job than the Los Angeles Lakers. watching the meltdown yesterday was delicious, man. It was delicioso. They did not know how to handle it. They did not know how to handle it. They didn't know how to deal with it. They didn't know how to work around it. To them, they had the moment of, we are the king. You don't say no to the king. And Dan Hurley said no to the king. And they melted down. They didn't know what to do. And it was just like candy, dude. It was delightful. I enjoy watching a school, watching a program whose fans have a sense of entitlement, like they deserve things just because they exist. Learning in real time that, no, that ain't how it works. I especially love it in a league that annually finds new and inventive ways to make sure that the big market teams have every bleeping advantage that they can get, like the NBA does. I love it when a big market NBA team can't get what they want, is denied what they want because they don't know how to handle it. They officially enter the world of the peons. They don't know what to do when someone says no to them. Yesterday, I'm watching people on Twitter in Lakers Twitter call Dan Hurley some of the most egregious, vulgar things that I have ever seen people type on a keyboard.
America.
And I spend time in political Twitter. And they're like, oh, he's a, nope, that's the wrong one. He's a son of a, and a dirty, and a you. And I'm like, guys, it's basketball. But they don't know how to handle the entitlement. And it's unfreaking believably hilarious. I have enjoyed it immensely. So Lakers fans, because I know there's a couple of you out there, and I don't mean to run down P1 Kev, who came up with going ham at 6 a.m. I don't mean to run down Kev. He's a Laker guy. But, dude, watching these fans, these entitled fans who firmly believe that they are owed everything, get rejected by a college basketball coach was the highlight of the stinking week. When we come back, I got 2 clips from Xavier Legette. Lonzo and I, from this point forward, every time Xavier Legette does a press conference, are going to do a segment of, what'd he say? With Xavier Legette. I'll play you those clips because not only are they hilarious, but also Xavier Legette's a dude I just want to be friends with. That's next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
You see.
All right, guys, quick live, and we're back. Stay right there, please, and thank you. right, we're back, everybody. Yes, one of them is the one you sent, Shane. Yes, it is.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facility safe and your people.
So I was wondering who it was that made it a place you don't want to be in there. And then I heard a slow rumble come from the far. Not what you was. It came out of the top end, not the bottom.
Is there
And then I knew who it was.
Is there
He would not fit in any of the other stalls.
Was there a banana on the ground by chance?
No.
Was there any other foodstuffs on the ground?
I ain't looking. I got hit by a wave of stank when I walked in. It's like
There have been a couple of times.
it's like I'm holding my breath.
There have been a couple of times.
Somebody has changed their eating habits. I should know that, but I do know that someone has changed their eating habits.
There have been a number of times that I've walked in that bathroom and thought either, no, I'll just hold it, or, yeah, I'm just going to go downstairs. I have gone to the downstairs bathroom.
I can hold my breath, but once you're already in there,
Nope.
the breath that you're holding is already tainted.
I will walk right back.
Yeah.
If you have smelled it, you have not held your breath successfully enough.
Right. But the key is, to not breathe anymore. So when you walk out the door, make sure you exhale out your nose. So, I mean, kind of like you're blowing your nose and blow that stank out of there. And by the way, Steven, I saw that earlier and it made me laugh. And that's exactly the expression I had every time I had to go out with that person. Because of how subservient I was treated. I need you to go get me a napkin. I ain't going to get you a napkin. Go get your own napkin. Try not being a slob. I mean, probably the same place where a Gamecock fan walked up, showed me his tattoo, and asked me if I wanted him to beat his bleep, 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 bleep. Talking about that person, not me. And I was like, nah, man, you can't do that. He's like, I don't like how he's treating you. It's like, it's okay. It's all right. It wasn't, but
Chumba.
New life in the next break.
10-4. Text line's open 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We will read them on the air. Texter says, public display of entitlement and exponential hypocrisy. Wife toils in the yard under extreme humidity while you lay walled up on your front porch in front of God and everybody. These are the antics of an ice snob. Period. Full stop.
In his defense, he never said if the sun was shining on the porch or if there was shade or not.
It's hotter than hell. And yes, I was absolutely in the shade.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely.
All right.
It was hot outside.
As long as you were protecting yourself.
I really feel like, how there's this thing where if you've got a dog that likes being outside, there's this phenomenon going around of people putting up a sign in their front yard that's like, I'm really friendly. Come have a pet or whatever. I feel like whenever she goes to cut the grass, I'm going to put a sign up in the front yard that's like, it's her decision. She wants to do this.
I thought you were going to say, I'm really friendly. Come up and have a conversation.
Come have a beer.
Yeah. Yeah. The petting thing, that's probably a bad idea.
All right. Let's get to a couple other things here. Xavier Legette. I've been in radio. This fall will be 18 years I have been in radio, off and on, but primarily on. And I can say sincerely, I don't think I've ever done multiple segments on one guy and the way that he talks being as endearing to me as Xavier Legette is, to the point that I was on a pod out of Louisiana on Sunday night, And we went on because they asked me, it's an LSU podcast, and they asked me to come on and talk about South Carolina because LSU comes to South Carolina for the first time since like 2015 this year. So they asked me to come on and talk South Carolina, and I said, yeah, and I was on there for a while, and then one of them noticed that I've got a bunch of Saints hats hanging on the back of the Bro Cave, and they're like, oh, you a Saints guy? I said, yeah, we talked Saints for a while, and they said, well, tell us what the Panthers are going to be like, and I gave my thoughts, and then I said, I got to tell you, I hate that Xavier Legette's in my division. I wish he played anywhere else because it would be way easier to pull for the guy. It's not hard to pull for this cat at all. I got 3 clips for you. Clip number 1, Xavier Legette got straight up asked at a press conference about his accent. And, well, he had an answer because he's Xavier Legette.
Has garnered a lot of attention. Have you seen what they've been saying about your accent and how much people really love it?
Oh, yeah, man. They've been dragging it all over social media. Man. I just tell folk, man, they really just ain't never heard nobody talk for money.
I have. I'm from South Carolina, so I get it. Do you have any nicknames? Do people from home call you a certain?
They call me Zabra.
Zabra.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? How did that originate?
Say what was up?
How did that originate?
Oh, man, I don't know. My cousins, they just started calling me and they stopped.
I just want to get a beer with Xavier Legette or whatever he wants.
Zebra is pretty easy. It's, Xavier. I mean,
Zabra.
Yeah. I mean, I can see where that derived from. I'm good with that.
XL, I want you to know exactly and precisely nobody is dragging your name through social media. No, nobody's dragging your accent. We all adore you as a person.
Oh, there's probably some people out there. There are people out there who have no joy in their life, period. And they find things like this to have a problem with.
Xavier, no one's dragging you, my guy. No, like there's gonna be jokes, but please realize they are jokes the way we joke with the boys, because you are officially one of the boys. You are impossible to dislike. Here's a couple more clips from a recent press conference of Xavier Legette. First off, XL was asked, before you realized you were going to be a great football player, COVID year primarily, before you really broke out for the Gamecocks, what did you do? Like, did you have a job? What did you do?
No. See, I ain't never had a job for real. I mean, in 2020 with COVID, one of my partners was working at KFC. And I went in there. He kept begging me to come because I was just chilling at the house. I went in there about 2 weeks and I got on though.
What he said was
KFC.
That he's never really had a real job. But during the COVID year, one of his partners, one of his boys, was managing a KFC. And he invited XL to come get some hours at the local chicken joint. So he said, I went in, I did my thing day to day, and I lasted about 2 weeks, and then I was up out of there. Good enough for me. Good enough for me. I respect it. Here's the clip. And it's only 7 seconds long, but it is the only 7 seconds that I need you to hear today. Now, we've heard stuff like this from athletes before. We've heard, in fact, almost the exact same thing from athletes before. But for some reason, when XL said it, when Xavier Legette gives this answer, I'm not going to lie, I am a big, strong, macho man. My heart melted a little bit. All right? Xavier Legette got asked, now that you rich, now that you got that rookie contract, now that you're bringing in the big bucks, what's your first big purchase? We talked about Victor Wembanyama. His first big purchase was a $800 Millennium Falcon Lego set. Big ups to my guy, Victy. Because, yeah, that's a great first pick.
Yeah, a big Lego ring was just busted by a couple of days ago. And there was 2,800 Lego sets that have been stolen. A bunch of Millennium Falcons.
That is approximately $700 million worth of Legos.
Probably.
I respect this, all right? I will acknowledge firsthand, I'm not a big Lego guy, right? I will also acknowledge that my 6-year-old nephew got me Luke's X-Wings Lego set this Christmas, and it was my favorite gift. All right.
As a dad who had children who had Legos growing up, they do hurt as bad as you think.
Listen, I think everybody has their Lego phase. There are just some people whom they collect Legos. That's fine. Everybody's got their thing collect. Mine is hats. All right. I collect hats. I love a hat.
And one of my children, not going to say which one, decided to get one stuck in their palate.
We both know who it was.
It was exactly who you're thinking of.
So Victy says, I'm going to go with the Legos. XL got the same question. This is a question you asked rookie athletes, right? It just is, hey, man, what's your first purchase?
Do you have a purchase in mind, your first big purchase?
I just want to remodel my mom and my dad house. That's the only thing I want to do.
That's awesome. That's an awesome kid right there, for sure.
I just want to be friends with XL. I just want to be friends with Xavier Legette. I want you to know, by the way, that I sent an email last night at 11:10 p.m. Because, yes, I was awake. The Stanley Cup was electric, so I was gassed up. I sent an email last night at around 11:15, 11:20 p.m. to our contact at the Carolina Panthers to get Xavier Legette on the show. We are getting XL on this radio program.
I knew that's where you were going. Well, hopefully we do. It'd be awesome to get him in studio.
I will not rest until I get XL on the show.
Hopefully we can get him on StreamYard.
I would kill.
Yeah, that would be
but I'll take him however we can get him. On the phone, on StreamYard, recorded. I got to drive up to Charlotte with an old school tape recorder. I don't care.
Hey, you're going to be up there next month anyway.
Sure am.
You know, slide by and maybe get an interview then. I'd hate that because I wouldn't be a part of it, but you know.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. My man, XL, nobody's dragging you, guy. We all love you. We are all big fans. We are all on board. We've heard that a million times.
Do Clemson fans, are they okay with Xavier Legette?
If this kid doesn't overcome your college rivalry, I need you to see a therapist because something's broken. All right? You say you don't play there anymore. You're broken. We have heard a million athletes get to the league and say, oh, yeah, first big expenditure. I'm buying my mom a car. I'm remodeling my parents' house. I'm taking my parents to Paris, like whatever. And you respect it every time. But hearing it put that way from XL, he's the first guy that I heard that. And I'm like, oh, I love him. Heart hands emoji. This guy's the freaking best.
All right, you're creeping me out now.
No. Men can have feelings, all right? We can feel things for other bros.
No, it's the tone. The tone was that's creepy.
Love this guy. I wish nothing but the best for Xavier Legette. And all of you who continue to listen to the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Heart hands emoji.
New life.
All right, guys, one more and we're back. Stay right there for me.
1,000 planets, and I beat the game before. So having unlimited resources, I might actually spend more time just exploring planets. They didn't have all the Star Wars mods on there yet. I have, out of those 50 that I said were on there, I probably have like 35 mods now, and haven't even just over a gig, and they give you 100 gigs of space. So there are no really big mods on there yet. They're just little minor things. I'm guessing more of the Star Wars stuff will be on there today, and I will turn people into stormtroopers and ATSTs and all that stuff. That's just, I'm more interested in ships. I found this gun, and there's a gun that helps you level up quicker until you reach level 100, and then it stops. And I wasn't going to use it, but I am, and I've went up like 10 levels really quick. I'm not doing that, Steven. There are some lines I will not cross. And being able to put other clothing on your companions and stuff makes such a difference, because there's basically like 5 different things you could put on people, and it just made it you lose immersion because they're not shaggy, they're not wearing the same clothes. All that, I mean, it's just. I did also download a thick mod just because I think it's funny.
A thick mod?
So some people end up thick, as in
sturdy.
No, as in baby got back type thing.
Okay.
And it's so random, and the mod is glitchy. So they'll be skinny 1 second, and then suddenly they expand. It is so fun to watch. It's hilarious. And some people shouldn't be thick on that game. I might have to get me a Leggett jersey also, Trey. The only Panther jersey I own is Luke Kuechly, which is a good one to have, by the way.
So let's fix the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics. They're fine. That's fine. Let's fix the Dallas Mavericks, because they're not fine. They're down 2-0, which means there's about an 86% chance that they are losing this series. And I will go ahead and say that unless they win both games at home, as the Celtics did in games 1 and 2, unless they win both 1 and 2, or 3 and 4, pardon me, this series is I already think the series is done. I call the series done after game 1. Game 2, the Boston Celtics had arguably their worst game of the postseason, and they still covered the spread.
After Dallas decided to play some defense. But, of course, it's only, they didn't play well. Not that Dallas played good defense. That's
sure.
fine.
Let's give them credit for playing good defense in a game they lost by 7. By the way,
they were neck and neck the majority of the game.
They were not neck and neck. In the third quarter, they got run away from.
If Kyrie stepped up a little bit, which
Correct.
is going to be better when they get back to Dallas.
Correct. And if Luka scored 50, they'd have won, but that's not what happened. Like, I again, for somebody who squashes hypotheticals like they're bugs, leaning on hypotheticals about why everything is okay, to me, isn't the play right here. The play right here is
flip-flopping from going Dallas is going to win to going Boston. I don't know if that's the play either, but you did it. So,
flip-flopping after I've seen a game is fine.
After one game though, that means it makes it look like you didn't believe it that much when you were putting money down on it.
I promise you, if I put money on a thing, I believe the thing. All right. Like I did last night.
Why aren't you rooting for that thing to happen so you can make money?
Because I don't come in here and base the radio speculation on what I have bets on. I base it on this is what's happening. Now I do that on Saturdays. I openly root for the teams I bet on Saturdays.
Because there are consequences.
Correct. Absolutely. The consequence here is one of two things. I either sit and I hear and I go, let's go Dallas. And then I look like a goober.
I don't know why you would bring that up. I mean, the only reason why you would do that would be if maybe the boss rooted for Dallas. I mean, that would be the only reason why you would do
That's
that.
not true. I give the Dallas Cowboys hell.
No, you
infinitely.
missed the point. I didn't. I said if you were going to do that, that would be the reason.
That would be the reason why.
Why? Yeah.
But I don't do that. I don't do that. All right. I'm not rooting for away from radio. Yeah, I'm rooting for Dallas to come back and win this thing because I got money on it. On the radio, I'm not rooting for anybody. I'm just talking about the game, the way the game is breaking down. And what I asked after game 1 is, what can the Mavs do better to win game 2? What makes you think? What foundation did they lay that you could build on to win games? And the answer for me was nothing. There was nothing good enough. Gafford and Lively weren't good enough. Luka wasn't good enough. Kyrie certainly was not good enough to say, here's the foundation you build on, and then they come out in game 2. You're right. They did play better defense, and they still lost the game by more than the cover.
Well, because they couldn't hit a free throw. They had free throw opportunities, and they were missing 2. I mean, how often do you miss 2 in a row? That's just, I mean, as an NBA player, it was horrible for free throw shooting. If they shot at least, I don't know, 25% better at the free throw line, maybe they could have won the game.
But they didn't.
You're right.
That's exactly my point.
You're right. They
didn't.
Because there's a loser and there's a winner, and they didn't win. But I don't think they're out of it until they, if they were to lose tomorrow night, 25 days after their last game, then it's over.
By the way, if Dallas shot 100% from the line, they would have won by 1.
See? So what you're saying is, Lonzo, you're right.
No.
Yeah, because you just said it. I mean, you didn't say my name, but you did say I was right. I appreciate it. I know it looks painful.
What I am saying is they shot the same percentage in game 1 when they went 12 of 19.
All
what
right.
I'm saying is, hang on, let me finish.
No defense stops you from making a free throw. That's concentration, and that's poor free throw shooting.
But it's who they are. It's who they are.
Over the season? Season, what's the percentage over the season?
That's like me saying, well, if Kyle Busch drove faster, he'd win races. Yes, but that's not who he is right now.
He doesn't win races?
He has not won a race this year. No. In fact, he's on his longest winless streak of his career.
Okay, right I thought we were talking about basketball. But anyway.
The point here is, yes, if my uncle had wheels, he'd be a bicycle. Like, hypothetically, what would happen
wouldn't he
if
be a car or a motorcycle?
Hypothetically, if a team did something different, then yes, the results would be different. But we have 2 games in the books, and this is just who they are right now. Will that change? Maybe. Maybe they come out and they shoot 95% from the stripe, and we have a different game. But we have a 2-game sample size. In both of those games, the Mavs shot sub 70% from the free throw line, and it cost them a game in 2 consecutive games. They have had way less turnovers or way less assists than they had in every game leading up to it. But we're 2 games deep. That says something about what Boston is doing to their offense.
All right, according to what I'm looking at, their free throw percentage for the season is 75.8%. I mean, maybe I'm looking at it wrong, but that's the first thing that pops up.
Spectacular.
Yeah. So what is it? What has it been against Boston? So
it was 63% in game number 1.
So
in game number 2, it was, hang on, let me get the box score pulled up here. In game number 2, they shot 66% from the stripe.
So they're 12 to 13% less than what they normally are.
Let's add.
If you just did. You added it for the last game, and they would have won.
Then, no, if they went 100%.
Right. I don't know why you get.
What's their season percentage?
75.
Is that 100%?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Then they did not win, even if they shot their season average.
Okay.
If they shot 10%
I don't know why you're yelling, dude.
Because I have a frustration with the thought of, well, if they did everything different, they'd win. Yes,
I'm
correct.
equally as frustrated about your take because I think my take is better than your take, and you're getting all upset, which is proof that my take is better.
No,
because
it's not.
I'm calm, and the calm person is always
It's
right.
proof that your take is not a good take.
I think everyone knows the calm person's always right.
No, it's not. Texture says, Lonzo, who hurt you?
I'm not the one acting like they're being burnt right now. That would be Mr. Bouncing in his chair, which I appreciate your ability to now bounce in your chair. That's awesome. But you shouldn't do it in that chair.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
You're going to be like Kristaps and die in the studio if you keep bouncing on that chair.
So in a game in which Porzingis was dinged up, in a game in which Boston had, in my opinion, their worst offensive performance of the entire postseason to this date, even if the Dallas Mavericks shot 10% better than their season number from the free throw line, they still would have lost the game. Still would have lost the game. So my question is, let's be realistic about what Dallas can change here. Because shooting 100% from the stripe, even for an NBAer, is not realistic. It happens once in a blue moon, and ordinarily it's when a team has like 15 free throws, not 20 plus.
You're saying there's a chance it could happen. Thank you.
Sure. And there's also a chance I could grow wings and fly. It's not going to happen. It's just not.
I thought you were going to go and pigs might fly out of my butt, and I was going to really enjoy the reference.
That's what I should have gone with.
Yeah, Wayne's World.
That's what I should have gone with. So what can the Mavs do?
I mean, you already went Limp Bizkit. You might as well go full on 90s. Wayne's World was 90s, right? I think so.
Yes. Number one, Kyrie's got to do a thing. Now,
he's got to do twice of the thing that he's doing now.
Yes. He's got to do twice the things that he's doing. Okay, he's got to do a thing because he has done nothing so far. And yesterday, I saw somebody say, hey, Rob, do you remember when the Cleveland Cavaliers were down a couple of games to the Golden State Warriors, and they came back and won in 7? That is why it's an 86% win rate for teams that go up 2-0 in the finals, not 90%. And I said, yes, I do remember that. And they said, do you remember who the star of games 3 and games 4 were? And I said, yes, I do. It was Kyrie Irving. I would also like to draw your attention that was 8 years ago. This wasn't last season. This isn't the same Kyrie. This is 8 years older Kyrie.
I'm thinking 8 years ago, the Rob Brown that we heard then is not the Rob Brown we hear now, the seasoned veteran that wins awards.
Yes. Turns out I don't have to sprint 40 plus minutes to win the awards. If we did, I'd be screwed and or dead.
If you tune in at like 5:59, you see him sprint every morning when he forgets his headphones out.
It's not every morning. It's just a lot of the mornings.
It's quite a bit.
What's what you get for putting me on the radio at 6 o'clock in the damn morning? All right.
Yep, I did it. It was me.
No, it wasn't. Stop, Boston. Like, I need Kyrie to do something. I need dramatically fewer than 15 turnovers in a game. Dallas in game 1 ended up against a Boston defense that was decidedly working on preventing ball movement. That was the defensive key. Jump the passing lanes, prevent Dallas from getting comfortable moving the ball around, prevent Dallas from utilizing, because this was the strength of the Mavs offense. Dallas loves to move the ball around the floor and utilize ball movement to create openings elsewhere on it. This is why I have pointed out my favorite thing in the postseason is Luka Doncic playing Y ball. Luka Doncic taking that slow, bent down, low to the ground dribble into the free throw line, and then just hanging out, bouncing the ball, waiting for where's the extra defender coming on. Is he coming up from the block? I'll get it to Lively or Gafford. Is he coming from a wing? I'll reverse it back to the other side of the floor. Is he not coming at all? I'll do it myself. Whatever the case might be. Thanos.
Okay, all right.
Whatever the case might be. Boston took that from Dallas. They said, no. If you're going to beat us, you're going to have players beat us on the dribble. There's 2 guys that can do that. Luka Doncic and Kyrie. And as long as Kyrie is going to continue to paste his game on the side of a milk carton, then it doesn't matter what Dallas does. But here's the fun part. Let's say Kyrie doubles his scoring in game number 3. Let's say he gets to 32 points in game number 3. My question is that going to come at the sacrifice of Dallas's defense? Because if he can double his from 16 to 32, Tatum can double his from 18 to 36 the exact same way.
Has he, though? Has Tatum done that? I mean, Kyrie has shown he can do that, but Tatum hasn't in the playoffs, has he?
Yeah, he has. He's gotten a couple of 30-pointers.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I know he's got for at least 132. And the answer to me is he doesn't have to. Because, and this was the one thing I said, I picked Dallas in 6 because I was done doubting Luka. I'm right back to doubting Luka. The problem now is Drew Holiday's getting 26. Derek White's getting 18. Jaylen Brown's getting 21. And OBT Dubs, Kristaps is back. Dallas is getting swept at home. It will be 4-0. I don't know if it's going back to Boston. How do you fix the Mavs? Y'all let me know. 71307. We're back after Lonzo blows your pants off with this sports flash.
Why not just say, oh, by the way, it's the same. I mean, in this case, it didn't really shorten it. The South Carolina Gamecocks reportedly have the favorite to take over their vacant head coach position. Former LSU head coach Paul Mainieri is reported being seized up to replace Mark Kingston. Mainieri stepped away from LSU in 2021, calling it a retirement. Mainieri coached LSU for 15 seasons, leading the Tigers to 1 national championship in 2009 and 5 college World Series appearances. Florida Panthers lead the Stanley Cup after finishing off the second game at home with a 4-1 win over the Edmonton Oilers. Sergei Bobrovsky had another stellar game, saving 18 of 19 shots, while Evan Rodriguez knocked down a pair of goals in the third period. Make sure you tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our still brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on all the latest local and national stories. Wire to Wire. No, today I am the Kyrie of sports reads. Just can't do it. Head hurts. My jaw is popped. Can't speak correctly. And Rob is just angry. I'm done. I'm retiring in the next 5 minutes. Maybe. Rob Brown Show, what do you want to talk about? Okay, what's your name? Okay, hang on, Chris. That might be the worst 3 reads in a day that I've ever had. But I'm including all the reads that I did on WRD a long time ago when I had to do it then. You're not the only one who's asked that question, Stephen. But if you want to think it's about you, it's about you. How is something still new has been a question in radio forever. I've asked it. Rob has asked it. There's never a definitive answer. So why not have fun with it? They're going to be new until the very first game that we carry, whatever that is. I can't remember if it's Burns or Furman that will play first, but late August, early September, they're new until then. They might even get newer. I don't know how you can get how can you get newer than new? And where's Rob? It's after 9. I'm just going to play the good morning sign until he gets back in here. Maybe he retired. He heard me say I was going to retire, and he's like, I'll show him. I'll just retire first.
Good morning.
Shut the hell up.
Good morning.
Shut the hell up.
Hilariously, those are the primary two reactions from most people who stumble across the Rob Brown Show.
Hey, you guys, I'm going home.
Right here on the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob and the great one, Lonzo, along with you here on a lovely Upstate Tuesday AM. We have been all over the place as far as the world of sports go this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday morning. We've got a lot more that we need to continue to discuss here on the show. I almost hiccuped into the mic. That is what happened. Yes.
I wasn't looking. I was just making sure you didn't die, because there's been a lot of talk about dying today. Yeah. And since you sprinted back in the room.
I mean, I looked down at the clock and I was like, oh crap. I'm not going to lie. I was listening to another Limp Bizkit song. The speaker in the Fortress of Nerditude is getting a workout this AM.
Well, if we got to 6 good mornings, I was just going to jump back on the air and make fun of you not being here.
NCAA President Charlie Baker said the association's pending antitrust case will put financial pressure on everyone in the college sports industry, but he also believes it creates more certainty for schools to plan for a new system that will allow them to share money with their athletes. I adore the use of the word certainty here, because while I get the point that he is driving at, that a system is ultimately going to be established that puts a lot of questions to bed, the reality here is we don't know what the hell that system's going to look like. We still don't. We are weeks past the announcement that the settlement has been agreed to. Yes, there are still stepping stones that must be utilized in order to get to where the financials are worked out for schools across the NCAA. But we don't know what those stepping stones look like. We still have questions about Title IX. We still have questions about the $22 million annually that schools may put aside to give to athletes. We still have plenty of questions. And by the way, while the antitrust lawsuit settlement is out there, there are still folks that are trying to get in on the action as it stands. Like, for instance, yesterday when it was announced that the players from North Carolina State's 1983 national championship basketball team have sued the NCAA seeking compensation for unauthorized use of their name, image, and likeness. The players filed suit in Wake County Superior Court yesterday, requesting a jury trial and, quote, reasonable compensation, end quote. Of course, the 83 squad was coached by the late, great Jim Valvano. Jimmy V became known as the Cardiac Pack because of the numerous close victories, culminating in a 54-52 win over Houston in 1983 to claim the title. The lawsuit said, quote, for more than 40 years, the NCAA and its co-conspirators have systematically and intentionally misappropriated the Cardiac Pack's publicity rights, including their names, images, and likenesses associated with that game and that play, reaping scores of millions of dollars from the Cardiac Pack's legendary victory, end quote. So there are more lawsuits coming. And I suspect, especially if this jury trial is granted, and especially if the 83 team wins this, there will be plenty more teams. Basically, it would open the door for every championship team ever, at the minimum championship team ever, to get some millies from the NCAA. So Charlie Baker using the word certainty is kind of hilarious here, because while I get the point that he's making, which is that a system is finally going to be in place, a system that is agreed upon by everybody, not just the powers that be, not just the authority figures in the landscape of college sports, but the players and their representatives as well. The steps that we got to go through to get there are just, it's convoluted. This is why I've said, if anybody tells you this is what is going to happen, this is how it is going to happen, this is the way that this is going to play out, they aren't necessarily being truthful with you. Because I think a lot of what is going to happen is going to have to be trial by fire. It is going to have to be, we think we're going to try this, and then we'll see if it holds up when inevitable lawsuits are brought against them. We're going to try this. We'll see if it works unless the players unionize. If the players do unionize, what does a collective bargaining agreement look like? There's a lot of steps that have to be thrown around before we arrive at the spot where there is any certainty in this situation at all. And we ain't there yet. Not even close. Let me get Chris in here. Chris has been kind enough to jump on the phone line. The renewal by Anderson to the Carolinas fan phone, 844-326-3663 is the number. Chris, welcome in, big dog. Good to have you.
Gentlemen, hope you're having an awesome Tuesday thus far. Wanted to get in a little bit on some of the NBA Finals talk that you guys were chatting about, and also wanted to give a shout out before I wrap up on the call here today. So as far as the NBA Finals go, it's actually going fairly similarly to how the data told you the series was going to go. Most people don't realize this, but Luka Doncic has the highest usage rate in the playoffs and the regular season in NBA history. So think about that for a second. All of the great players who have come through the NBA that have played in the regular season and the postseason, not Michael Jordan, not Larry Bird, not Magic Johnson, nobody has a higher usage rate, one of those advanced stats that show you how much of a team's possessions are being used by a particular player. So it's easy to fall in love with the counting stats of things like, oh, Luka put up a 30-point triple-double. Oh, look at these incredible numbers that Luka Doncic is putting up. But when the reality of the situation is, there is no player in the league who had more empty possessions in the 2023-2024 season or in the postseason. And by empty possessions, I mean possessions that end with a missed field goal or a turnover. When you combine those two together, possessions that involved Luka Doncic had more empty possessions than any other player in the NBA. And now you're up against a team that actually has four, I won't say five, but four good point of attack defenders where they're not switching Rudy Gobert onto Luka Doncic. And you're seeing what's happened. Luka's still getting his numbers, but it's requiring a significantly high volume to get there. Jason Kidd is incapable of making any kind of adjustments. He's not a very good X's and O's kind of coach. So he just let Luka do whatever he wants to do. And when the ball's not in Luka's hand, watch him. All he does is stand in the corner. There's no movement off ball. There's no threat. It makes the Mavericks defense a lot easier to defend when you've got good point of attack defenders who don't switch and they don't come off of Luka when he doesn't have the ball. It creates a lot of empty possessions and a bunch of turnovers, which we've seen in the first two games, and I think will continue in the next two games of what's going to end up being a 4-game sweep.
I like that take. I like that take, Chris, because I pointed out, I think last week, in fact, I know it was last week, either Thursday or Friday, when we knew the matchup and we had to wait for game one, I brought up the fact that, yes, Luka Doncic has more minutes than anybody else in the playoffs. He has more games played than anybody else in the playoffs. He has more points than anybody in the playoffs, more assists, more rebounds, and more takeaways, if I recall correctly, than anybody else in the playoffs up until and through the conference finals on both sides. But I also pointed out that's because the Mavs don't have a lot of other options. And while I respect the offensive efficiency of both Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, who, again, have been good scoring the basketball when they've gotten the opportunities, I also went back and I said, okay, Rudy Gobert effectively locked them out, and it required Luka Doncic to take over. I understand it takes a lot of shots. Having a guy knocking down triple-doubles more than he doesn't is always a help, but it is always a help if and when you've got somebody else that is pitching in as well. And if Luka Doncic is going to go out and put up, let's say, 28, 29, 30 field goal attempts, but I got Kyrie Irving out here shooting 40% or less and going over from behind the three-point line, it doesn't matter if Luka Doncic gets a 30-point triple-double because the efficiency rating for Dallas is terrible. And to me, you can almost always, for the span of a 7-game series, you can almost always look at offensive and defensive efficiency numbers. And if the offensive and defensive efficiency number is higher for one team, that team's winning that series, and that is the Boston Celtics right now.
Absolutely. And two more things before I jump out of here. You guys were mentioning Jason Tatum before you went to the break there at the top of the hour. An interesting stat, and yes, I'm a nerd when it comes to the stats because I think it helps us understand the sport better, is that for possessions that end with a Jason Tatum jumper, the points per possession for the Celtics in possessions that end with a Jason Tatum jumper have decreased each of the last 4 postseasons that he's played in. Yes, he's another one of those guys that is getting numbers that look good in totality, but when you look at the efficiency of how they're getting there, he is becoming less and less efficient of a scorer as the years go on. And to me, that's an alarming thing, and it's the depth of the Celtics that's carrying them to the title right now. And one last thing before I go, fellas, I do want to give a quick shout-out. I was watching the Stanley Cup Finals last night. I will always and forever be a Kevin Harlan guy. I think he's the best in the business when it comes to being a play-by-play guy. But I think a woefully underappreciated play-by-play guy is Sean McDonough. Think about the versatility to be able to have called all 4 professional sports, to have been able to do Masters broadcasts, U.S. Open tennis, and be excellent at all of it. It's just, and Rob, you do enough broadcasting to know. Think about the sport of hockey. To call play-by-play in that sport is already ridiculously hard. Then you add in the pronunciations of some of the most difficult names you're going to find in sports. To do it at an excellent level and still be great at the other sports that you call as well, he is just unbelievable, and I believe underappreciated when it comes to announcers that we've had the privilege of being able to listen to.
Respect. Good take. Chris, thanks very much, man. Appreciate that. Thanks for jumping in. Could not agree more. McDonough's been excellent. I will tell you that as somebody who has done hockey, basketball, baseball, soccer. What else have I done?
Basketball.
Did I not say basketball? I thought I said basketball.
I don't think so.
As somebody who's done all of the major sports, I'll say major sports, and has done so at basically every level with the exception of the highest leagues in each. Hockey is easily the most difficult play-by-play there is. It just is. It is fast. It is relentless. It is chaotic, yet organized at the same time. It is easily the most difficult sport to call play-by-play. If you find a good play-by-play guy in the arena, respect that cat. That's hard to do. Going back to what you were saying, Chris, about Tatum. You're not wrong. But I also would say, I think a lot of that has to do with the depth of Boston, which, by the way, when I said last week, I was going Dallas in 6. I also said with the caveat that If Boston wins this series, it's because they outlasted Dallas and they allowed depth to become the story of this game. I thought if and when depth became the story of this series, it was going to take place about game 5, before you started to go, all right, you've worn the legs off these cats. Now it's going to come down to who can survive. And if it is a who can survive series, that very much benefits the Boston Celtics. It didn't take past halftime of game 1 to get to the point that it was, all right, Dallas just doesn't have the stamina to run. And I think because of that depth, you're asking Jason Tatum to do, I don't want to say do less because they still need him to be Jason Tatum. But it is an offense that is created as an offense based around not requiring Jason Tatum to be a megastar. Yeah, you're not requiring Jason Tatum to carry this team. You have got other guys. You've got Jaylen Brown. You've got Drew Holiday. You've got Kristaps Porzingis. Hell, you've got Derek White, who dropped 18 last time out. So I think what you've done is you've created an offense now where Jason Tatum can have more opportunity, where Jason Tatum can be a little more risky with the basketball. He doesn't have to stroll and just exclusively try to find the high percentage shots. I think you've created a world where Jason Tatum can be a little more adventurous with the ball. As a guy who calls soccer play-by-play, one of my favorite words to use in calling play-by-play is speculative, right? In soccer, when you get a guy or a gal who has a rip from 10 yards outside the 18-yard box, when they have a go and the keeper is on the line, so the only way that ball is going in is if they have done something truly remarkable, my favorite thing is to say that's a very speculative shot from that distance. Speculative meaning there's like no way that's going in. They're just having a go to see if they get lucky. I think what you've done in the way that Brad Stevens has built this roster is create a world where Jason Tatum can go look for those speculative but special buckets. Those buckets that make people go, oh, damn, that guy still got it. That guy can still be him. Whereas in years gone by, Jason Tatum had to be max efficiency with the basketball. He had to go on quest to find the high percentage shots and had to pass up superstar moments. I don't think he has to do that anymore. Because if he has a bit of a lower shooting percentage night, if he drops down to 42, 45% shooting percentage, he knows there's other guys on this roster that can pick up this slack. And so far in this series and in this postseason, that's exactly what happened. Chris, great call. Appreciate it, bud. Check in more often, pal. 844-326-3663. Text us 71307. Start your text with FAN. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. I learned of a local hot dog establishment that has a dog. I forgot the name of it, but it is a hamburger, and the buns are 3 Hebrew national hot dogs. So it's a burger, but there's grilled dogs as the buns of the burger.
Kind of like KFC's
double decker.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's dogs being the bun of a burger, but it's a chili cheeseburger with hot dog buns. And yes.
As in, yes, you can look at it, but you're not allowed to eat it.
Like, yes, when I hit the goal weight and I get my one celebratory, I'm going to eat something that I'm probably not going to finish anymore meal, that might be it. You ever felt like you just needed a factory reset as a person?
Physically, spiritually, or otherwise.
All or one at a time?
Physically, for sure. Like every morning when I get up. And like the rest of the day. But, you know, I'm guessing while I'm asleep, I'm okay, but I don't know. You've been talking about death the entire show. Now you're talking about
because I feel like
a
it.
Reset. And these are the things you hear when you're about to be traded. That's what I want you to know.
Nah, it ain't that.
Dude, I just took an aspirin and I'm about to fall asleep. To try to get, that's why you see me suddenly just relax. I guess I'm glad my tolerance is not that, but still. Woods, maybe? I don't know. I mean, who hasn't ate hot dogs and hamburgers together? I mean, it's not really that much of a stretch. All right, are you resetting now?
I'm trying to book a guest.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Coming back. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob and the great one, Lonzo, with you. So we talked a little bit earlier. We'll do it again here about Paul Mainieri, who is the former LSU Fighting Tigers coach, who is apparently, as of right now, the lead candidate to replace Mark Kingston as the head coach for the baseball program at South Carolina. Look, Paul Mainieri is definitely a guy that has a track record of success. He succeeded at some smaller schools around Florida. It earned him the call up to go coach at the Air Force Academy, where he became, and I believe still is, the most winningest coach in the history of that program. He did well enough at the USAFA to get the call up to go coach at Notre Dame, a school that is obviously quite proud of their athletic department, including their baseball program. He did enough to get the call to travel down to the Bayou to become the head coach of Louisiana State University. He was there for 15 seasons. 5 of those seasons, he went to the College World Series. That is making it out of the Super Regionals and going to Omaha. And he won 1 of those 5 College World Series during his time at LSU. A couple of years back, Paul Mainieri stepped away from LSU. The decision was his. The rumor, and I believe I've heard enough about it from friends and family that are down there and connected to this program, that Maneri was stepping away due to health concerns, due to health issues that he had, and that he basically just did not want the stress of running one of the most high-pressure baseball gigs in college sports as a whole, while also having to try to fight these health issues behind the scenes. And so he retired, called it a retirement, said I am retiring, said I am stepping away. What changed about that? I don't know. It is, unless he decides to share with us, quite frankly, none of our business, assuming that Ray Tanner is doing the due diligence to get an accurate read on whether or not Paul Maneri is a short-term plug with a big-time name, or if they truly believe Paul Maneri has got a handful of years left in him as the head coach of the South Carolina Gamecock program, assuming he gets the gig. So I asked this question earlier in the show. I got a couple of responses. I'll read them here in just a minute. I will ask it of you again now, Gamecock fans. How do we feel about this one? How do we feel about this hire? I have learned that, and I'm gonna say, because again, as Shaq might say, what is happening with this freaking computer? Are you gonna say it now, Shaq? Nope, still no. Still no.
I was gonna say, is that what Shaq said? I never heard him say that before.
I don't know why it keeps muting itself.
I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game.
There it is. There it is. Since the repeat national championship of 10 and 11, and I don't know if it extends back further than that, I am, as always, to be enlightened and to learning new things. But South Carolina fans obviously very proud of the baseball program and want a guy in there who is not only going to be a wonderful ambassador for the baseball program, but is going to, and this I think is the big thing, win. Is going to win, is going to win, is going to get you to regionals, is going to get you to super regionals, is going to get you to Omaha, and is going to give you a chance to add another national championship banner to the two you've already got in the back pocket. Is Paul Maneri that guy? Is a 66-year-old who stepped away from the game? And again, I can only give you my best speculation based on the things I've been told in the past about Paul Maneri. But a guy who stepped away from a very high-profile Southeastern Conference gig. LSU feels about their baseball program the same way that South Carolina feels about their baseball program. It is a point of emphasis and pride within their athletic department. I have one question about the hiring of Paul Maneri. Can a 66-year-old guy who has, and so that we are clear, this is the emphasis part of the question, not the 66-year-old. Can a 66-year-old guy who has not been hands-on with the program, a program, not the program, a program, within the NIL/transfer portal era, can a 66-year-old guy who has not been operating within the modern era of college baseball, college athletics, step into this spot, into this role, into this moment with this much pressure and behind a fan base, or I guess I should really say in front of a fan base that is going to demand excellence, already is, already has? and be able to get it, be able to grasp it, be able to understand that communicating with these college kids, working with these college kids, understanding these college kids, developing these college kids is a different ball game than it was when he stepped away from LSU a handful of years ago. It is going to be a different world. Do you trust Paul Mainieri can navigate it at 66 years of age and not having coached a Division I program in almost half a decade now? Do you think that he can just step in, get the development that you want, keep the recruiting at a very high level, and maintain the trajectory of this club that South Carolina fans are going to expect him to? Again, he's won everywhere he's been. He's got a natty. He's got 5 College World Series appearances. Do you think he can bring that same heat, that same momentum to Columbia, South Carolina? Because I have concerns. I have concerns. I have concerns about whether a guy who has been away from the sport since the inception of the new age of college athletics is going to be able to just step in and get it. I feel like it's a different game since he left. And the answer isn't no, he can't. The answer isn't no, he can't. But to me, the answer is there are some other guys whose names we heard thrown around as potential candidates who can, who have, and in at least 2 cases, who are doing it already now today and are doing it at smaller schools or private schools or academically prestigious schools where the qualifications for getting in and playing are frankly higher than they're going to be at a public state university. I don't know. I was really looking forward to the hire of a new baseball coach that was going to make me go, bang, what a hire. I was looking forward to the hire of a new baseball coach that was going to make me go, that is absolutely the guy. What a get. What a snag. And while I respect everything Paul Mainieri's done in his career, I don't know if that's what we got.
All right,
here.
so who's that guy that would have made you feel that way?
Chris Pollard at Duke, Kevin O'Sullivan at Florida.
Okay, because people are complaining about Monty Lee, and now complaining about this. Okay, all right.
The Monty Lee thing, I was respectfully not on board with. I like Monty Lee. I think Monty Lee's got a lot of success, but the issue with the Gamecocks has been that last little hurdle, right? It's been getting over that last little hurdle. And with all due respect to Mainieri, the reason he got let go, or excuse me, with Monty Lee, the reason he got let go from Clemson was because he could not get over that last little hump. Well, if the bugaboo for your program has been we can't get over that last little hump, is the right call bringing in a guy who, unfortunately, his legacy was not being able to get over that last little hump? I don't know. All right, I got a couple of texts from you guys I'd like to read through. We'll take a look at those when we come back. I got a few more stories that I need to knock off and knock through. We will do that and get your reaction to this Paul Mainieri story when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, give me 45 seconds. I'll be right back.
Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes the 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau, where I can hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly small skin.
Why do you want to smell like sea salt?
I love the smell of sea salt.
Okay.
My favorite smell on planet Earth is salt water at the beach. It is the best. I have candles at my house. I have multiple candles at my house that just smell like the beach.
Granger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them. With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise. No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures. It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
From the Ingles Market Studio.
Punch your ticket to the best local sports. 97.7 Rise and shine, sports fans. That's straight. Grab your copy and get
The Rob Brown Show continues. Let's run through some of the text that y'all have sent into the broadcast over the past couple of segments. Texture said, the Gamecocks took your suggested approach with Lamont Paris, and that has turned out pretty good so far. Yeah, listen. I think, and let me be clear, I believe this for the college level. I do not necessarily believe or disbelieve this when it comes to the professional ranks, a la Dan Hurley. But I believe that in today's college game, you are more well-served to get somebody that is young, fresh, cool, hip to the lingo, as I am not, but the kids are. I believe it is more important to get somebody who can speak to college athletes on a college athlete's level. Because I think that there is this purveying attitude sometimes that age equals wisdom and knowledge. That's not true. It's just not true. All right?
It does in this room.
The age believes so, for sure. But age does not by default equal wisdom. Do you know what does? Experience equals wisdom. Learning equals wisdom. I know a lot of old people who are very dumb. And I know a lot of young people who are very smart. I also know a lot of young people who are very dumb and a lot of old people who are very smart. The difference is not the age. The difference is the learning experiences. And yes, age provides more opportunity for learning experience, but it does not mean that everybody takes them or that it works for everybody.
I'll make you famous.
At the college level, I truly believe that having somebody that is closer to the kids than they are to the administration is the right move.
I get this in football. I get it in basketball, but I don't get it in baseball because the one game that hasn't changed in forever is baseball. Why do you need to relate to a kid to tell him, hey,
because
catch
you
better,
are
hit better,
looking,
throw better? I just don't see.
Because you are looking at one tree in a forest and you are trying to define the forest by the one tree. Yes, I'll be straight up with you. A calculator could coach a baseball team if you are only talking about from pitch 1 to the 27th out. If you are only talking about from pitch 1 to out 27, I could go coach a college baseball team today to a win. But it's not just about that, is it? It's about recruiting. It's about development. It's about manipulating rosters. It's about making kids want to play there and now want to stay there. It is not just about Paul Mainieri does not show up on game day, put on a jersey, coach 27 outs of baseball, and then go home. This is a year-round operation for a major college, a successful college baseball team. It's a year-long operation. And at 66, I don't know that he's going to, especially again, not because he's 66, but because he's 66 and because the game has changed dramatically since last he coached it and last he left it. And learning a brand new college basketball or college baseball environment is going to be hard enough for anybody, but especially for a 66-year-old guy who hasn't been there in the better part of half a decade at this point.
So what's the minimum age for you before you think they're too old for?
There's
to be a
not
coach?
one.
Okay, because you've stressed that many times. So if he was 52, it would be okay.
Who's going to communicate better with a 17-year-old and 18-year-old kid, a 66-year-old guy or a 38-year-old guy? Just law of averages says the 38-year-old guy.
I think it varies from person to person because there are people that we know in this building who could relate to just about anybody.
Me. I agree. But I think that if you just play, and again,
You just called yourself old. I want you to understand that you just did that, right?
I woke up this morning and I have an alarm. I have a voice-acted alarm that you have to tell it to stop. I forgot the name that I had to say is the keyword, is the trigger to get her to turn off. So I sat there going, I couldn't remember the name, to the point that the fiance rolled over and she yells, "Alexa, turn off," because I couldn't remember the name Alexa. Okay.
You just missed an opportunity to play your one cut. I don't
know. Yeah, pretty much. Yes, I am old. But I also think, with a capital T, that I can still communicate with America's youths, which I think is a bigger and more important deal than anything else at the college ranks in today's college baseball. Let me keep going with a few more texts that have been sent in. Texter said, Rob, for Paul to succeed, Ray would need to convince Monty Lee to stick around too. He may take off to the Citadel. I do not necessarily think that Paul Mainieri needs Monty Lee. I do think it would be easier with Monty Lee. Does that mean he needs him? No. Does it mean that it would be easier for him? You're damn right it would be. But if Monty Lee decides that not being the HC when he wanted to be the HC is an egregious enough offense that he no longer wishes to represent the Gamecocks on the baseball field, then you still got to go with Paul Mainieri in that spot, I think. You just do. The biggest thing that South Carolina baseball has struggled with in the past dozen years is the one thing that was the weakness for Monty Lee. Texter said, Rob, Tanner hasn't made a good hire on the men's side of sports. Total loser. Didn't know you could still buy retreaded tires. No, you definitely can. Most coaches, most franchises and programs do exactly that. Well, this guy has already done this before. Yeah, but did he succeed at the thing? Is he not in that place anymore because of the thing? Because if the thing you have struggled with, if the thing that has held you back is the thing that is a weakness for another coach, that's not the right decision. But if that coach has been elsewhere, has succeeded, and decided he just wanted a break or needed to go, then I don't have a problem with it. Paul Mainieri left LSU reportedly, and I believe it to be true, because of health concerns, because he had a health battle he needed to wage away from the baseball diamond. If that is true, and now he is back and healthy, Paul Mainieri might be fine. Texas said, Rob, it is reported that he's bringing in his pitching coach and keeping Monty Lee just for the NIL and the transfer portal, something new that he has not had to deal with before. I think we'll be in good shape. I will tell you this. Can I tell you one of the things that makes me respect people more than anything else? When they recognize their weaknesses and they take advantage of resources to deal with that. People who are too proud. I'm not saying Palmineri is. In fact, I think the opposite. I don't think he is at all. People who are too proud to recognize their weaknesses and then find ways to deal with said weaknesses are weak people. That's how it is. So keeping Monty Lee on board, understanding the strengths that Monty Lee brings to this program, if he can convince Monty Lee to stay, is a hell of a good decision. Hell of a good decision. Texter says, and I see you on the line, Wes. I'm coming to you in a minute. Texter says, Somaneri is going to be the Urban Meyer of baseball. No. Nope. Texter said Jason Tatum ended up with 12 assists and 9 boards Sunday on a bad shooting night. Yeah, again, I think Jason Tatum understands he can be the superstar. He is the superstar, but he's got other guys that can bail him out. He's got other guys that can do things for him, and I think that is very, very important, and I think Jason Tatum has known that and taken advantage of that. Let me get Wes up in here to talk before we get out for What the X is going on. Wes, welcome back to the show, big fella. Good to have you.
Hey, guys. The problem that I have with the hire is, for me personally, I'm 61 years old. Now, if I was still into coaching currently, then it wouldn't be a problem. But Maneri has not been in coaching for a while, and I just think he's going to have a problem going in with if you're an 18-year-old, are you going to, your thought's going to be, oh, my God, I'm going to play for my grandpa.
Yeah, listen, it's a valid concern, right? Like, can a 66-year-old guy communicate successfully with college-age athletes? And Wes, I appreciate the call. We got to run. We're up against the break.
When we were 18, someone 30 years old seemed like they were 75.
100%.
So I don't know that you really can tell the difference other than hair color.
I had a starting realization the other day because I thought back to, I had a huge crush on my 4th grade teacher, Miss Myers. Miss Myers was a smoke show, right? And at the time that I was in 5th grade, Miss Myers was my 5th grade teacher, or 4th grade. When I was in my 4th or 5th grade, I had a big crush on Miss Myers. And, as a 8-year-old or whatever, 7-year-old, I was going to grow up and I was going to marry Miss Myers. But I always looked at Miss Myers. She was an old lady. She was an adult. She was very, very grown up. And then I had a realization when I got into my late 20s that Miss Myers was genuinely like 10 years older than me. Okay? She was effectively my age almost. But the way I viewed her, the lens I viewed her through, she was a grown-ass old lady. She was not. She was very, she was not. And so it took, I think that's the thing. The difference between me and her was 10 years. The difference between a 19-year-old college baseball player and a 66, soon-to-be 67-year-old college baseball coach is a gulf of difference. There's going to be a natural communication barrier. I'm not saying Paul Maneri can't get over it. I'm saying if he can't get over it, this will be a disaster.
Only way it would be worse would be if he was 57.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
He could still be a boxer if he was,
That's true. He could.
Now that fight's in Dallas in November, and I want you to know, here's a breaking news flash. I still don't care.
But we all do. And the fact that you don't care makes us care more. All right, the first thing that's Xing is banners.
I can't wait until that next morning when all of you go, you were right, Rob. I should have saved my money. I should have kept my money. I should have canceled Netflix for this.
One thing that I so look forward to every day is saying you were right, Rob. Banners is Xing.
You get plenty of chances. Banners? I'm assuming there's not multiple Hulks running around right now.
All right, so it's hung banners.
Championship banners, I assume.
Maybe. Maybe not.
I do not know why it is trending.
All right. There are banners being hung in LA and New York and everywhere, and not everywhere, but quite a few places. And they all have to do with houses and Westeros and stuff like that.
Oh, because House of the Dragon season 2 begins in the next few days. So we are celebrating. By the way, House of the Dragon's so good. It's so good. I cannot wait. The fiance got on. She's not like a big high fantasy person. She watched one episode with me last year, and I think I was watching like episode 3, and she goes, "Can you start it over and watch it with me?" She's hooked. We have had that date circled on the calendar for a minute now.
Well, anything Matt Smith is in is pretty good.
He's exceptional in this show.
He's very good at Doctor Who. I'm just saying, if you want to go back and watch some Doctor Who. All right.
Cody has talked to me now. Cody's a big Doctor Who guy.
Yeah.
He told me to go back.
The new Doctor Who is so good.
That's what he said.
Oh, he is so good.
He said it's on what, Disney or something, right?
Yeah, it's Disney.
Yeah.
So they got some Disney budget going into it too. So some of the effects are a little bit better. That helps. But yeah.
He gave me a list of like old Doctor Who seasons to watch. He's like, you can skip around, watch this season, this one's good, this one's good. And then he said, watch every season of the Matt Smith Doctor Who and jump into the new one immediately. Because even if you don't know what it is, you can jump into the season and have a pretty good time.
I would suggest you also go with some David Tennant, but those
David Tennant was one of the ones he brought up as a must-watch doctor.
Yeah, those two doctors were the best two doctors. I'm putting this one up
Tennant
there.
and Matt Smith?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm putting the new one up there.
Already?
It's so good.
I dig it.
And maybe it's the last one was such a departure from what was really good. It makes this one so much better, but I don't think so. I think he's really good. All right. The next thing that's Xing is Real Glass.
Real Glass. I genuinely have no idea.
All right.
I'd like to.
Ricochet got put through some real glass last night, which means, real glass and on the wrestling side will always trend thanks to the scapegoat.
Best check. I have not watched last night's Raw yet. I am caught up on everything up until last night. And I'm sure Thursday's Fight Club is going to be very interesting with the reported news from Ricochet this week.
Yes. Also Clash of the Castles this weekend.
Oh, that's right.
2 p.m.
Do we have
on Saturday, but you won't be around.
Do we have a Nerf wall bet on that?
No.
Okay.
Because I didn't do it last week because the card wasn't, the show will go on after the thing. We wouldn't have done well with the NXT, by the way.
No,
we would not have done well. The last thing that's Xing is Liv Morgan.
I can't figure out if I'm on board or not with what's happening.
Oh, you should watch.
I didn't see what happened last night.
You got to watch.
Okay. Well, we're going to end the show so that I can go in the Fortress and Reditude and watch Raw. Steven says, my wife told me to get into watching Bridgerton with her, and I told her that series was basically Game of Thrones without the fun stuff like Dragons and Magic. Dragons and Magic make that. I found a baseball team
My wife
yesterday.
and daughter are watching Bridgerton.
Have fun. Yeah. I found a baseball team yesterday called the Daytona Dragons. It's a baby blue hat with a dope-looking dragon head. Bought that hat on the spot.
Sweet.
It'll be here this week. I can't wait. Hey, that's the show, boys and girls. Thanks for being here. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed doing it for you. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later. Yeah.
I didn't get to Uncle Howdy.
I actually saw that.
Yeah.
That's the one I could have told you.
Yeah.
And that timer runs out during Raw next week.
Yes.
Okay. So who do we know? We know Gacy. We know Dexter.
Do we know Gacy and Dexter? I think that's speculation.
That's what the dirt sheets are going off.
Yeah.
We know Rowan, Dexter, Gacy.
I think the most definite are Bo Dallas and Rowan.
Rowan for sure. Bo Dallas for sure.
There's this short lady who was off for maternity leave who is supposed to be back in shape. She's married to like a rock star.
So somebody said, and I have not watched it to confirm, that either last week or last night, I don't know, but a bunch of fans believe that they saw Alexa Bliss way off in the background of one of the hallway shots, which would be very coincidental timing.
Wouldn't shock me. But how do you use Braun Strowman with what they're doing now?
I don't think he's involved at all.
Yeah.
I don't think he's involved at all. I think maybe you have a couple of segments where him and Rowan give like a head nod to each other, and that's really it. But I don't think you use them at all. My question is, are they going after Jay out of the gate? And more importantly, can you have them go after Jay out of the gate, cool off Jay? Although that was a weird promo they had him cut the other day, where he was like up in the crowd, and he didn't really say anything at all. It was a weird promo. I think they were short on time.
Yeah, like I said, Rowan and Bo Dallas for sure. I don't know about anybody else because there's also rumor it could be Nikki. I mean, there's just a lot of, which is the fun part
for sure.
And we don't know that we'll know everybody after next week.
Wrestling is at its absolute best when the marks don't know what's happening.
They cannot fail at this though.
No, they can't.
I mean, it can fizzle eventually, but it's got to be strong out the gate and last for a little bit.
Yep, I agree.
Because I don't think they do it if they didn't believe in being able to do it well, because it'll hurt Bray Wyatt's
I don't
legacy.
think Bo would do it if he didn't think he could do justice to Bray.
And he was already
More Alexa, because they were super close.
Yeah, and he was already Uncle Howdy, so it's not like it's not like a new character for him, but still.
Do we know what was for him for sure?
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, we do.
All right, dudes and dudettes, you're all spectacular people. Thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed the show. Tell your friends about us. Help us grow the show. We got bad numbers this week, all right? I'm just going to call a spade with you. We got bad numbers this week. We got to pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. We got to pump those numbers up. So tell your friends about us. Have a lovely rest of your day. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. See you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.
What do you mean we got bad numbers?